WBEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia. A Beasley Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios. Powering possibilities. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. Now, Andrew Salchunas. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Thursday morning, Philadelphia. A good NBA trade deadline morning, Philadelphia. But more importantly, a slop day here across the Delaware Valley. I'm Andrew Salchunas, the midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. NBA trade deadline today at 3 o'clock Eastern. So you know what the deal is. Throughout the entire show, we will keep you up to date on every single rumor. We will keep you up to date on every single report. We will keep you up to date on every single trade that actually happens. We will keep you up to date on any trade that happens, and then it goes into the follow-up of they are expected to buy him out, right? We've talked about Kyle Lowry a little bit. So we will be doing that all show long for 4 hours. And whatever news hits, especially if it's Sixers related, we will react to it. If there is something that is done via a trade that does not involve the Sixers and it's a player that you wanted, we will bitch about it, right? Like, that's what we're going to do. Today is a fun day. Today's a day where we'll be on our toes, on the edge of our seats, just waiting. And today's a day for you on the phones at 610-632-0975 to get on the record and tell us what you want the Sixers to do before today's 3 o'clock trade deadline. So first things first, I want to give you a bit of news that I saw as the show just started from our man Windy. Brian Windhorst puts out a name that is not going to be traded. And I'll just say right now, for reasons I'm sure you all can understand, I was not in favor of trading for Miles Bridges. Did not want to deal with that. Miles Bridges has decided he won't approve any trades, and he will remain with the Charlotte Hornets the rest of the season. Agent Rich Paul tells ESPN. So for those of you who thought the Sixers could go after Miles Bridges, for those of you who wanted Miles Bridges, that's off the table. So Miles Bridges is staying in Charlotte. One of the names that has popped up that has the Sixers been linked to over the week and a half of all the slop season, that is now off the board. So that's one name off the board. So here's the deal. I want to play you a clip right away just to kind of get you in the mindset of what the Sixers are going to do, because there's one thing for me to say what you want the Sixers to do, and you say, oh, I want them to trade for LeBron James, right? Like, okay, that's not going to happen. And then there's a lot of you that may think I don't want them to do anything. I heard Pat Egan on the John Kincaid show today talking about how the Sixers should actually be sellers because of what you have seen without Joel Embiid when he's been out. They may spiral out of control to the point where maybe they're a play-in team, if not out of the playoffs, which I don't think they're going to be that far. I mean, they have a 10-game lead over the first team out of the play-in tournament, so I don't think they're going to get out of the playoffs. But will Joel Embiid coming back in early April at the best, right? Will he be up to speed enough come playoff time where you can go on some sort of championship run? So I understand where Pat's mindset is. My mindset all week long, even before we heard that he had the procedure done on Tuesday, was that I wanted the Sixers to go into the trade deadline with the mindset that Joel Embiid will be back come playoff time and healthy come playoff time. I heard Bob Cooney make a good point today. I think they were speaking with Kate Scott at the time when he said it. Bob said today may be a day where the Sixers tell us exactly what might be the status with Joel Embiid. If they do nothing, then that tells you Joel Embiid's not coming back, or if he does come back, they're not expecting much. If they make a move here or two, maybe it's just to try to stay afloat. You can tell by how aggressive or how lacking in aggression the Sixers are at the trade deadline today. That could tell you what they believe will be the case with Joel Embiid come the end of the season. But let me go to one of the better reporters in the NBA. 1A is Woj, 1B is Shams Charania. Here's Shams earlier today talking about what the Sixers are going to do.
They're going to be aggressive working the phones. Is there a playmaking guard? Is there a scoring guard? Is there a pop that they can get offensively somewhere out there? They're going to be able to at least be out there and be active and make real offers to bring in a potential scorer.
So he's talking about a scoring punch, either, point guard or shooting guard. And yesterday we played, 1A, which was Adrian Wojnarowski, and he was talking about how the Sixers also will be aggressive. So now think about it. The top two reporters are saying the Sixers are going to be aggressive at the trade deadline. So, okay, that's going to be the case. So Woj yesterday was talking about how the Sixers are going to be in on a center, a guy that can be the starting center for the team until Joel Embiid comes back and then eventually slides into that backup role because, like you saw again last night, Paul Reed had a great first 2 minutes, right? And then he finished with 2 more points after that. It's not going to work with Paul Reed and Mo Bamba. You need to get a better starting center in here right now until Joel Embiid comes back. And then hopefully when Embiid comes back, that person is the right fit. That's why a guy like Kelly Olynyk actually makes more sense in terms of fit because you could actually play Olynyk and Embiid at the same time if you wanted to, if that's something that Nick Nurse wanted, whereas you can't play Embiid and Drummond at the same time. But I think, and I said this yesterday, I know this is hard to comprehend, I think Andre Drummond for the Sixers is better now until Embiid's back. I think Kelly Olynyk is better for the Sixers when Embiid comes back, right? You're obviously not going to get both. So the deal is you have to think about the future in mind. And that's why maybe Kelly Olynyk would be the better trade piece to go after, even though I saw that he's expecting 1 or 2 first-round picks, which is just absolutely absurd. And that's one of my biggest beefs with the NBA trade deadline. The NBA trade deadline has become so hype, right? It's better than MLB Hot Stove at this point. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a baseball guy. The MLB Hot Stove trade deadline, it's not the same as it once was, right? You're not really trading for guys that are rentals anymore. It's guys that still have control, right? That's been one of the biggest things for the Phillies over the last couple of years. They want to make trades at the deadline for guys that they can have under control for another year or two. The NBA, the rumor, the slop. I mean, we literally did the slop report on this show, and that's going to happen all day today. It's become such a event. But then I feel like not much ends up happening because the asking prices are astronomical. Now, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and make the big payday if you think your team is able to win a championship. And that leads to the next question. If you think the Sixers are unable to lead to a championship today, then maybe you don't think the Sixers should do all that much. They should still make a move or two, but maybe you think that they shouldn't trade 2 or 3 for 2 or 3 guys like Windy was saying yesterday. So I'd love for you to get on the record at 610-632-0975 what you want the Sixers to do. So I've been, pretty steady with this. Bojan Bogdanović, I would love for him to come here from Detroit. He's a guy that's still under control next year, so that makes sense based off of what the Sixers are looking to do with this trade deadline, right? And he's not going to kill you off of your cap next year because his contract is partially guaranteed. So he's a guy that I think fits perfectly with the style of this team with Joel Embiid. And if you bring in a Bojan Bogdanović, he can slide in your starting lineup, and then Kelly Olynyk goes back to the bench. When you're healthy, it's probably a Maxey, Melton, Bogdanović, Batum, and Embiid starting 5. Oh, sorry, Tobias Harris has to be out there too if he's still on the team. So it would probably be, Maxey, Bogdanović, Harris, Batum, and Embiid as your starting 5. Now you have Melton and Oubre coming off the bench, which I think is a pretty good depth to have right there. And then, of course, I want the big man that you could trade for, whether it's a Kelly Olynyk or Andre Drummond. Olynyk, I think, makes more sense for the bigger picture with the Sixers. So those are 2 players that I would love for the Sixers to be in on today before today's 3 o'clock trade deadline. So what I would love to hear from you is what you want the Sixers to do. I want you to get on the record. You can tell me what you think the Sixers are going to do. If it is different than what you want them to do. So that's also on the table. Just climb in at 610-632-0975. Now, this is a big day for you, Ray. It's Slop 'em Up Day. So, Ray's going to be all over this as the show goes on. Any bit of news, he will just jump on and tell us right away what's going on. We're going to have fun with this because this is going to be something that as we get closer and closer to 3 o'clock. Look, there's already news breaking at the beginning of the show. Miles Bridges is not going anywhere. There's already news breaking at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Think about what happens once the West Coast starts waking up a little bit, right? I mean, Daryl Morey made a trade at midnight for getting rid of James Harden not too long ago. So the rumors will continue to swirl, and it's just going to get hotter and hotter and hotter as we get closer to 3 o'clock. So you better keep it locked right here in the station all day long. 610-632-0975. I'm Andrew Sal. Tune us to the Midday Show on a trade deadline slop day right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Happy deadline day. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Netcoins. Take advantage of zero funding fees plus fast trading plus a
The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It is 10:19, 97.5 The Fanatic Midday Show. I'm Andrew Salchunas. On trade deadline day, 10 o'clock hour brought to us by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows. Plus, make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com. So here's what we know. We know that the Sixers are going to be aggressive come the end of the deadline, right? The trade deadline is at 3 o'clock. Now, one of the biggest problems for the Sixers is that the league knows that they're desperate, right? That they need to acquire players before the trade deadline to stay afloat until Joel Embiid comes back. So that's probably one of the biggest issues that the Sixers are going to be working with. But what we do know is there are players that they have been linked to. Some, it seems like, have fallen off in recent days. Like Buddy Hield was a name that we talked about yesterday. And then all of a sudden, Keith Pompey reported last night that it looks like that's not the direction that the Sixers are going in, that they would not be going after a guy like Buddy Hield. And so then you're wondering, all right, well, who else? What other guards? I saw one report that Malcolm Brogdon was a name that the Sixers had been linked to. We've been talking about DeJounte Murray for a while, and if you're on the DeJounte Murray sweepstakes, I got some good news for you because it looks like the talks, this is according to Chris Haynes, who does a tremendous job covering the NBA for TNT, the deal between the Hawks and the Pelicans for DeJounte Murray has halted, and there's no progress in sight. That was 20 minutes ago with the trade deadline looming at 3 o'clock. So DeJounte Murray, it seems like, will still be available for those of you who are interested there. Another group of names, Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. Remember, we've had a caller that has mentioned Alec Burks a handful of times. According to Jake Fisher, who does a tremendous job covering the NBA, he has the Knicks and the Sixers both being engaged with Detroit regarding the acquisition of both Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. I don't want the Knicks to acquire those players, especially Bojan Bogdanovic, because that's a team that is dangerous. There's a guy, Casey Johnson, who covers the Bulls. He's been a longtime Bulls reporter, 29 years now. He's reporting that the Sixers are a team to watch if the Bulls make a trade today. I saw reports as early as this morning from Woj that DeMar DeRozan is still a name to keep an eye on with the Sixers. I don't like that, okay? I've talked about this a couple of times now. DeMar DeRozan is a hell of a basketball player. I don't have beef with DeMar DeRozan. My problem is his offensive game is right where Joel Embiid's offensive game is. They're both mid-range specialists. I can't do this again. We kind of already did this with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. A little bit of a different scenario because DeMar DeRozan could actually score, but it starts clogging up lanes. It starts, there's not much spacing on the court. We know how important spacing is in the NBA, especially when you have a dominant big like Joel Embiid, and he does as much as he does at the top of the key, right around the foul line, around the elbow. He needs shooters to be able to kick it out to. Not DeMar DeRozan, who lives in the mid-range. That won't work. Now, it would work, kind of like the Andre Drummond scenario that I've had for you. It would work until the day Embiid comes back. We got slop? What do we got?
We got slop. Oh, we got slop. Okay. Shams tweeting out Indiana is nearing a deal to trade Buddy Hield to the 76ers.
Oh, all right.
Sources tell The Athletic.
So, forget what I just said. Hi, Bobby. Bob, come in here real quick. Forget what I just said, that Keith Pompey was saying it looks like that wasn't going to happen. Buddy Hield, your thoughts, Bob Cooney, tremendous Sixers
saw it
man.
Out there too, so ran in to tell you. What are the? I just saw that they're getting Hield. Do we know anything what they're giving up at all? No,
it doesn't look like. Just that they're working on a deal. So it's probably going to be one of the veterans,
right?
And a pick or something, second round pick.
Yeah, Buddy Hield's at like $18 million a year. So who lines up with that? Is it a Covington? Is it a Marcus Morris and whatever?
Right.
Probably a second rounder also. So do you bring Buddy Hield in here at 31 to woo him? Hey, buddy, you're an unrestricted free agent. We got a lot of money. Are you auditioning him?
Right.
Are you trying to woo him? Does that tell you that you think Joel Embiid might be back?
I think based off of everything that they're saying, and it's what I wanted to do. Like, I'm glad that what I wanted to do is what Shams and Woj are saying, that they're going to go into this with the belief that he'll come back healthy, even though it's a risk, right?
Yeah.
Because 4 weeks from now, the reevaluation, they can go, oh, crap. Yeah, you're done for the season. And then all the trades you made kind of go out the wayside. But as you have talked about a lot, they have 3 guys under contract. So, like, if you trade, with all due respect, Marcus Morris, like, all right, so you trade a guy that's going to be a free agent after this season.
And you got something that you can look at.
We have more slop. Now we have breaking news.
Yeah, so we got the breaking news here of what this deal is going to be. Woj following up with the report. Indiana Pacers are trading Buddy Hield to the 76ers for Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks, sources tell ESPN.
Wait, so you're telling me my day has finally come? You just told me that I don't have to watch the Yellow Shoe Bandit, the man that has been thieving money from this city for years? You mean to tell me Korkmaz is no longer on the Sixers? Oh, happy day.
Well, not really, because if you look at it, Indiana just reunited Furkan Korkmaz with T.J. McConnell.
Oh, you're right. He's gonna light it up.
All right, boys, have a good day.
You were a little 3 second-round picks
3
too much?
second-rounders.
Yeah,
Look,
but
second-rounders are only there to use as they are, and they do have a lot of them.
And you know what's going to happen? They'll trade somebody during the offseason
And get it back.
and get a second-round pick back.
Marcus Morris, I kind of like what he added here with the toughness and all that stuff.
But Buddy
tells me
Hield,
there's more to come.
Buddy Hield fits more with them being in the
yeah.
Right, so I talked about that yesterday. Like, I legitimately did not want them to trade Marcus Morris. But I think that was also that was a sentimental, like,
good dude, such a good guy, dude. Yeah,
we talked to him at the gala.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
emotional, not at the gala, but he got the keys to the city. He was emotional being back in Philadelphia. And now he's back on his way out, which sucks for him. But
could be something you revisit if you need that type next year.
Maybe.
But Buddy Hield, 40% 3-point shooter, mostly throughout his career.
Yeah.
Scored. You bring him off the bench. This is cool. All right, cool. Like, cool. I'm not going overboard.
No,
cool.
I was just happy that Furkan Korkmaz is gone. I never have to. I couldn't stand watching him play basketball.
I couldn't stand the way he sat on the bench anymore with the I don't care attitude.
Because he's been wanting to get traded.
Yeah.
Even though they gave him way too much money. He should have been happy collected checks.
$5 million.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
For a guy that barely played, and they tried him out there as a point guard. Doc Rivers did. Ridiculous.
This is interesting.
Yep.
Have fun with it, Andrew.
Bobby, thank you. Tremendous job as always. So there's the first shoe to drop. Buddy Hield will be coming to the Philadelphia 76ers. Ray and I were joking about this yesterday. Buddy Hield is Wesley Matthews in terms of he's going to be there. They're going to get him. Wesley Matthews was the buyout target that the Sixers had for like 4 years, going back to Brett Brown, right? Like, for years, Wesley Matthews was the buyout market guy that the Sixers were going to go after. They never got him. Buddy Hield has been mentioned in trades for years coming to the Sixers. He was mentioned as somebody that they would draft, even though they were never going to trade that first overall pick and not have Ben Simmons. But Buddy Hield has been linked to the Sixers for a long time. So he's now coming to Philadelphia. The Sixers trading Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, thank God, and 3 second-round picks to the Indiana Pacers for Buddy Hield. So that's a good start. And now we wait. Okay, what's next? This is kind of like when the Phillies signed Kyle Schwarber a few years ago to me. I was like, wow, that's a great move. What's next? And then they got Castellanos. So what is next for the Sixers? Let's start reacting to the first trade, 610-632-0975. Also, as we get slop all day long, Philly 4-for-4 checks in. Mark Stein reporting that DeJounte Murray, there's momentum building that he stays in Atlanta now. So after all that talk that DeJounte Murray was going to be on the move, now there's momentum that he's going to stay in Atlanta. That could also be a trade bargaining kind of report. Like, oh, man, I think he's going to stay here. But wait, if you offer some more, he might come here. So there you go. There's a good start. By the way, right away, Guru complaining about the trade. I'm not even going to get into it. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Sean in Philadelphia. Sean, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Sean?
How you doing? I just had a Sixers point and an Eagles point real quick.
Okay, what do you got on the Sixers?
Joel Embiid, if he were to be able to be cleared to come back, right?
Uh-huh.
Does he have the fire within to, like, train as hard as he can in a short period of time to just set it up?
What makes you say he doesn't when he's been hurt every single year and every single year he comes back better?
Okay, I'm not downing him.
No, I'm just saying, like, I would imagine after you have now seen it 3 times where he's had season-ending injuries or whatever, got hurt in the playoffs and played through it, And then he's runner-up for MVP, wins MVP, and then this year was an MVP favorite until he unfortunately got hurt and won't qualify.
It just seems like whenever he comes back, he's not in shape. That's all.
Well, I mean, that's anybody after an injury. I mean, if I take a weekend off from exercising, Sean, I come in with a beer belly. You know.
True.
But don't worry, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Now, what's your point on the Eagles?
Eagles. Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean. Do you have any faith that they're going to do anything?
I don't have faith in Nakobe Dean. I'm not going to count out Nolan Smith yet, just because
Okay, cool.
he didn't play all that much last year. And I appreciate the call, Sean. Nakobe Dean, I was excited for when they drafted him. The fact that he was a first-round talent and you were able to get him in the third round. The same way with Nolan Smith. People who had the Eagles drafted him 14th overall. They got him 30th. So the fact that they were still able to get him in the first round with that second first-round pick. Now, last year he's a rookie, so I'm going to give him some time. Nakobe Dean, I've seen him play now for, this year was his opportunity, and unfortunately got hurt twice. I'm not going to completely count him out, but I don't see a bright future just yet for Nakobe Dean. He could be another one added to the list of linebackers that didn't really work out here in Philadelphia. Let's go to Ron in South Jersey. Ron, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, sorry. I had you on speaker.
What's up, Ron?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm sorry. I told you a producer. It was 2 years ago. We should have had Buddy 3 years ago. It was 3 years ago. I am so – oh, my God. Thank you.
You're fired up, man.
I am fired up. Buddy is what we needed before we needed James Harden. All of that. We should have got Buddy Hield. I think I called the station and said that. When we lost Ben, we should have targeted Buddy or De'Aaron Fox. One of the two. Oh, my God. I am 1, 2, 3, 76.
Wow, you're singing the song. All right, Ronnie, I appreciate the call. He's fired up. I'm not going there yet. No song. But I appreciate it. I don't know if Buddy Hield was like that much of as much of a difference maker as James Harden could have been, which James Harden, we ignore the fact that he had a 20-10 season last year, and Joel Embiid had his best season up until this year because of probably playing with James Harden. And they were 5 minutes away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals. But then James Harden was James Harden, which is why things fell apart, as did Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers. We can't forget that aspect, too, that Doc Rivers can't close out series. But Buddy Hield, 2-3 years ago, you wanted him? Yeah, he would have been a great piece to any team. Any Sixers team that there's been, Buddy Hield would have fit. Right? Like, he would have fit as a guy that could – if you're a three-point shooter, you could fit on pretty much every single NBA team, right? And he's a guy that could shoot 40% from three. He's shooting this year 38%. But, as a career shooter, he's shooting 40%. It was 42% last year, so I don't think he's all of a sudden just fallen off because he dropped 4 percentage points from three. I think he's going to be all right. Now, the question is, who is he without Joel Embiid? As we're starting to see – as we're starting to see the Sixers without Joel Embiid, it's a problem because of what Joel Embiid does for Tyrese Maxey, who finished with only 12 points last night. What he does for Tobias Harris, who finished with only 13 points last night. What he does for Kelly Oubre, who finished with only 11 points last night. Guys that were averaging close to 20 points a night, they do that because of what Joel Embiid does for them. Right? Not only is Joel Embiid averaging close to 40 points a game, but forget just assists. The attention that he gets with 2 or 3 guys on him is what then leads to the open looks for all these other players. And now you add his ability to facilitate all of a sudden this year. It is now added to scoring for a lot of players. We got more?
All right, this one doesn't have to do with the Sixers in terms of the trade, but it is someone that we talked about them targeting. The Utah Jazz are finalizing a trade to send center Kelly Olynyk to the Toronto Raptors for Kira Lewis, Otto Porter, and a 2024 first-round pick. Also a guard going back in that as well to the Raptors. So Olynyk appears to be off the board.
So Olynyk goes to Toronto. What does Toronto care? What are they doing?
Let's get weird. I don't know. Let's get wild.
Like, I'm all for it, man. I saw, was it DeMar DeRozan? Somebody, maybe it was a member of I think it was DeRozan. DeRozan was saying how he doesn't want trades to have. Vucevic said it last week, right? That he didn't think that they needed to break up their big three because they got the right pieces. DeMar DeRozan, I believe it was, saying that they don't need to make trades because they could still find themselves climbing up in the Eastern Conference standings. Where? To 8th?
And Levine was like, "Yeah, I'm done for the
To
season."
7th? Like, so you're going to climb up to 7th in the Eastern Conference final and Eastern Conference standings and lose in the first round? Like, you know, what
Sixers
is that
have
doing
lost
for?
7 of 8, and they're still 6.5 up on the
Right.
Bulls.
Yeah, exactly. So that's funny to me. Here's some more, by the way, regarding Buddy Hield from Keith Pompey. Sixers got Buddy Hield in exchanges. Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, the Toronto second-round pick for the 2024 NBA draft. So this year. Okay, now this thing. So Bob's initial reaction was, 3 second-round picks. Portland's second-round pick in 2029. Clippers' second-round pick also in 2029. So I imagine at some point Daryl Morey will be able to recoup some second-round picks for a draft that doesn't happen for another 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not going to cry over here about the second-round picks. The one this year ends up having some value because it's that it'll be probably in that somewhere early 30s, mid 30s range that teams love because of the difference in contract from a first round pick to a second round pick. The guys be able to grab on value there. But overall, yeah, I mean, that draft is 5 years away. 2029 doesn't even feel like a real year. Then again, 2024 didn't feel like a real year. So
Right, exactly.
2029 doesn't feel like a real year. So I don't need to bother with
Who
those
knows
two.
if I'm still here, man?
Oh,
I'm
geez,
saying on
man.
this earth. Who knows?
Oof, that was morbid.
I've been saying that forever. You can't trade for Russell Wilson. It's going to kill the team 5 years from now. I don't know what's going on 5 years from now.
I mean, it's a great point.
I hope I'm still here. You never know.
I would hope so, too.
Yeah.
Saying these scary things, man. Very morbid. We trade for Buddy Hield. All of a sudden, he's questioning his mortality over there.
Can I ask you something? What are we doing here? So I love everybody. I just saw a tweet from an account, Broad Street. All right. A video of Furkan Korkmaz hitting a 3. It was a buzzer beater. Give him credit. Back in the Al Horford days. Thank you for everything, Furkan Korkmaz. The city of Philadelphia will never forget you. Do people actually still like Furkan Korkmaz?
There has to be a group out there that
Seriously,
does.
is anybody going to actually miss Furkan Korkmaz? Although you said it best yesterday. The day he'll be like 5 of 6 from 3 in his first game. And it's going to be, see, look at what the Sixers did. They held him back. He could have been so much better. But you can't blame Doc Rivers anymore, right? Because now it's Nick Nurse. That was a big Doc thing.
Yeah.
When the younger player would leave and have some good Matisse Thybulle.
That is just a Doc thing in general.
It is a Doc thing, but like Matisse Thybulle was here even before Doc, and Matisse Thybulle sucked. Like he couldn't shoot. He had 0 offensive game whatsoever. And now all of a sudden Furkan Korkmaz is a guy that we're gonna be upset about. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not upset about this one. Good luck, Korkmaz.
Today will now be an anniversary for me. Like next year, I will celebrate the 1-year anniversary the Sixers traded Furkan Korkmaz.
I'll probably celebrate them acquiring Buddy Hield, but that might just be me.
No, it'll be Furkan Korkmaz Day first.
Is this the Furk deal or is this the Buddy Hield deal?
This is the Furk deal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's getting rid of Furkan Korkmaz. Like this is a celebratory day for me.
I'm glad that you could celebrate today. I'm pretty happy about the guy coming in, but listen,
no, that's
if
good
you want me to take over here for a second so you could get out there and drive Furk to the airport himself or yourself, go right ahead. But
I don't want him in my car.
Jeez.
Like I'll get him a token for a bus or something. I don't want to. I'm excited for him to no longer be on the Sixers.
That hype video really rubbed you the wrong way.
I hated it. You can't be a bad basketball player and post a hype video of you dunking with a rim lit on fire. You're not allowed to do that. And I've never, even when he was still here with the Sixers, I never left that. I stayed on that side, as Ben Simmons once said. I never left that side. All right. It is trade deadline day. We'll get to more of your calls, 610-632-0975. Here is what we know so far. Miles Bridges not getting traded anywhere. Thank God. He is staying in Charlotte, so that is a name that has been mentioned to the Sixers that is off the books. The Sixers have acquired Buddy Hield. in exchange for Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, 3 second-round picks, one of which is this year's draft. The other two aren't until 2029. So when my man, the Guru, checks in and says, oh, my God, he's getting, how could you give up that much? He got fleeced. 2 second-round picks 5 years from now. That's something that I'm not even going to think about until 2029. Then I'll go, well, what does second-round picks really get me anyway? Kelly Olynyk, a guy that the Sixers have been linked to, is going to Toronto. He's not coming to the Philadelphia 76ers. So that still leaves open a door for a return of Andre Drummond. The Sixers desperately need another big to come in here and start for the Sixers until Joel Embiid gets back. So your initial thoughts on the Buddy Hield trade at 610-632-0975. And as we've all said, Ray, Bob, and I, what's next? So what do you want the Sixers to do next as this day continues, the NBA trade deadline at 3 o'clock? Keep it locked here all day long, all right? You'll be getting slop after slop after slop. Ray will be hitting the sounder constantly. We will tell you every report. We will tell you every rumor. We will tell you every trade that actually goes down. And we'll keep you posted on everything. So please, just you don't want to go anywhere, all right? I'm Andrew Salchunas. It's the Midday Show right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Up. WBEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia. A Beasley Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios. Powering possibilities. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. Andrew Salchunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Man, it's got to be hard being critical of literally every single move that's ever made with the team ever. So the Sixers made a trade. They traded for Buddy Hield. And they got rid of Marcus Morris, right? Vet, good piece to have on the team, expiring contract. It made the money work. They got rid of Furkan Korkmaz. Need I say more? And 3 second-round picks, 1 for this year's draft and then 2 for 2029. Which, the way second-round picks move around this league, I imagine they get at least 1 back at some point. So our man, the Guru, shockingly, Ray is not happy.
No.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that one coming. I thought for sure he would find joy in this.
Shockingly not happy with the trade. And I know you have some other reactions from Twitter that we'll get to, and I'm hoping that they are more positive reactions because I don't think this is a trade that should send you down a downward spiral and say foolish things. He says, we got slop?
We got slop. Not a completed deal, but Oklahoma City closing in on a trade to acquire Gordon Hayward from Charlotte.
Yeah, I saw a report this morning that the Charlotte Hornets were looking for a first-round pick for Gordon. I mean, like 5 years ago, maybe. First-round pick for Gordon. Hey, we're complaining about trading second-round picks. And Oklahoma City's about to give up a first-round pick probably for Gordon Hayward, if that's what it ends up being. What is it? Well, I see you're moving constantly. Ray Dungeon's on fire today.
So it right now it looks like, and if we can just analyze the way the deadline's going, Shams is going to tell you that a trade is close, and then Woj just going to give you the details because this is over the first hour of this show. We've just had that happen twice. Oklahoma City Thunder is sending Trey Mann and Davis Bertans to the Hornets for Gordon Hayward.
Trey Mann, that's a name that Sixers fans have been wanting. Him and Terrence Mann.
Yeah, I think a lot of people getting the Manns confused.
Yeah, but I mean Terrence Mann more than Trey Mann.
Yeah, I was all Terrence Manned up.
Bertans is a guy that intrigued me back in the day when he was with the Wizards because he's a guy that could hit a three, and then he just fell off the face of the earth. He's not the same player that he was when he first came into the league. All right, so no picks involved in that one, so that's good because for the life of me, I can't see Gordon Hayward still costing a team a first-round pick. Probably a nice move for the Thunder, a guy that can still shoot a little bit. That's Shai Gilgeous' team. We know that. There's a lot of other players whose team it is. Probably a nice move for them. Now, the Guru's tweet. Best way to word it is Indiana somehow didn't get any worse and has a chance to be better in future years. We stayed the same and lost potential future assets that could be used to get more impactful players in trades later on. It's been same cycle with Morey. Well, hold on a second. Well, how did the Sixers stay the same? Like Buddy Hield is a piece that they needed. Marcus Morris, who I really like Marcus Morris, but with all due respect, like Buddy Hield actually fits with the way this team is shaped up with Joel Embiid. And again, the plan of this whole deadline is to make a trade with the belief that Joel Embiid will come back come playoff time and be healthy to go. So Buddy Hield makes more sense to the Sixers than Marcus Morris. Buddy Hield makes more sense to the Sixers than Furkan Korkmaz. The championship window that is open right now makes more sense than 2 second-round picks in 2029. So what do you mean the Sixers stayed the same? Yeah, I get the potential future assets thing, but this is a trade that makes sense for right now. Sometimes you do have to think down the road. Or you have a player who is a walking injury, who's very talented, and you're hoping that he will be back healthy enough come playoff time and hopefully come close to the way that he can play at his top level. And if that's the case, you add pieces that make sense to that. I don't understand how that's your mindset. Well, now it's not even 11 o'clock.
Yeah, not 11 o'clock yet, but the Sixers are busy. This one involving the 76ers trade Daniel House and a 2024 second-round pick via the Knicks to the Pistons. Sources tell ESPN. Question is, what's coming back, or is this just giving them more space? Here we go. Woj following up as I asked the question.
Give me Bojan. Give me Bojan. Give me Bojan.
The move gives the Sixers the salary cap cushion to sign buyout players post-deadline, including the possibility of Charlotte's Kyle Lowry should
Okay.
he become available in a contract buyout, sources tell ESPN.
Okay. Now, somebody like the Guru would probably go, oh, so what? He realized he made a mistake with Daniel House? Yeah, so he got rid of him.
You ever think Daniel House just wakes up in the morning and thanks James Harden?
I guess.
Just like looks at his bank account and is like,
Thanks, man.
appreciate you, bro.
You think he sends him a text every once in a while when payday hits? Like, thanks, brother. I
Direct
appreciate
deposit
that.
just hit, man.
All right, so they're gonna waiver the, they're gonna pay attention to the buyout market, which is something that I'm not a fan of because I think the buyout market has become extremely overrated in the NBA recently, and I don't think it's worked out for the Sixers at all. Now that can change any year. It could change this year. I'm just not a big buyout market guy because I've seen the Sixers active in the buyout market for years now, and they come away with Dwayne Dedman and Willie Cauley-Stein to a 10-day contract, right? Like, that's who the Sixers get from the buyout market. Wesley Matthews, Kyle Korver available. They don't get those guys when they have chances of winning an NBA championship. So I'm not a big buyout market guy, but I get the Kyle Lowry thing, especially the fact that Kyle Lowry has been linked to the Sixers since that trade originally happened. So I guess that's something fair to keep an eye on. All right. You've heard the breaking news sounder. Fired away, 5 times already to start the show. We're not even an hour into the program. This is what you're going to get all show long. I feel like we're watching an episode of The Bear. Have you watched the show yet?
No.
Okay, watch it. It's incredible. You're on edge the entire time. Have you watched Uncut Gems?
Yes.
Okay, you know how you felt literally anxiety the entire...
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be what this is. 4 hours of an anxiety trip. Bring it. I'm looking forward to it. Trade deadline coming your way at 3 o'clock, so that'll end during the best show ever. But there's a lot of news already in the first hour of the program, and we'll continue to tell you what's going on around the NBA and, of course, everything that's involved with the Sixers. Now, yesterday, Wendy said the Sixers could make anywhere from 1 to 3 trades. I will not count the Buddy Hield trade, the Daniel House trade as the second trade. I'm not counting that. It's a trade, but I'm not counting it.
I'm counting it. We're still due for one more.
Well, no, it doesn't. They're trading, hoping for a buyout.
It's a transaction.
Yeah, I'm not counting that one.
I'm counting it.
I still need 2 more.
It counts.
Come on, Daryl. Come on, Daryl. Get that paycheck. Let's go to the phones. Go to Heavy in Huntington Valley. What up, Hev?
Yo, bro, huge day so far.
Yeah.
I like that move. It's solid. I like both moves. I mean, you look at the buyout market right now. Andre Drummond's on there. I do think the Sixers need to pick up a center at all costs right now.
Yes.
Because they just.
No, I mean, you can't, you watch it again. Another night of B-ball Paul in the starting lineup. It's not going to cut it out for you. Like, it's not going to work.
It's honest. It's obviously been the biggest mistake they made in the offseason coming into the season with just him.
I did not want to bring him back, period. I didn't think he was worth the money just because he's a flashy young player that's raw that you hope you could turn into something. I'd rather get a guy that could fit this team. You have a championship window now.
Yeah, I totally agree. But from what I was seeing on the Twitter sphere earlier was in regards to the Pacers trade with Hield. A lot of people were saying Tobias was involved with it, and then they were saying that he was going to the Pacers.
Yeah, I didn't. Where'd you see that? I didn't see that once.
No, I saw a bunch of stuff saying that the Pacers were trying to get him, but the Sixers were holding back on him.
Which I think is the right thing to do. And even though I'm not the biggest Tobias Harris fan, I mean, you're in a point right now where you need Tobias Harris. Until Joel Embiid comes back in April, you need Tobias Harris on this team.
Yeah, you can't really give him up at this point. You need the as many points as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, the only team that I've seen him constantly linked to, and thanks for the call, man, has been the Pistons, which still, I don't know why the Pistons are like buying. Now, the Tobias Harris one makes sense for the Pistons because he's an expiring contract, and then you get rid of him, and it opens up a slot and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know who's going to Detroit just yet. But if you're the Sixers, it doesn't make sense anymore. Now that Joel Embiid is out until March, April, early April, mid-April, you need Tobias Harris because he needs to step up for this team. Now, he once again did not step up yesterday with just 13 points. I gave him the task of averaging 22 a game until Joel Embiid comes back. And he's not really doing that. 17 against the Mavs a couple days ago, 13 against the Warriors last night. I need more out of Tobias Harris. And I'm not trading Tobias Harris, but I do need more out of him until, Joel Embiid comes back. All right, we're 1 hour in. I just cracked my back. Took a deep breath. I mean, it's been a sprint, man.
A lot happening. And still a lot of time to go.
This is how I feel when I
4 hours away from this deadline. I am not taking a breath at all.
No, this is how I feel when I run to first base in my Sunday league. It's out of shape, Go down 90 feet, exhausted.
That's how I feel when I lift one weight.
Man. All right, so let's tell you everything that's happened so far. Sixers make the trade for Buddy Hield. They got rid of Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, 3 second-round picks. One that was for this upcoming draft, 2 in 2029. They then traded Daniel House Jr. to the Pistons, as well as a 2024 second-round pick, that one via the New York Knicks. In exchange, it's just they just took his salary, right? I mean, they didn't even get cash back, right? It was just they took his salary.
Oh, yeah. House is just a salary down.
So they just took his salary, to which Adrian Wojnarowski reported that they will now be active in the buyout market, specifically Kyle Lowry. If I were to guess, Kyle Lowry's going to be on the Sixers. Right? It's just been...
Sure seems like that.
It's been mentioned since he was first traded. So it seems like the Sixers will be in on Kyle Lowry or will be the landing spot for Kyle Lowry. So basically, you sacrifice one Philly guy for another. Marcus Morris goes out. Now you got to bring in Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I mean, you need someone from here.
Yeah.
Like, that's a part of the deal.
That's
here.
how this works.
Morey understands.
Yeah,
Morey's pandering.
he gets the fan base. He gets the fan base. So now the question is, what's next? And what's next for me is a big, which would be Andre Drummond right now, right? A starting center for this team without Joel Embiid and a guy that can give you quality minutes off the bench when Embiid comes back. Kelly Olynyk is now off the board. Kelly Olynyk is going to the Toronto Raptors. So the Raptors all of a sudden, they trade OG Anunoby, and now they're active on the deadline trading for players. I saw another player that they were linked to not too long ago, which, whatever. Do whatever you want, Toronto. You do you. But because Olynyk's off the table, to me, it was either Drummond or Olynyk. Olynyk, to me, made more sense for the playoff run because he's a guy that could back up Embiid and score for you. He's also a guy that could probably play with Embiid if that was ever a scenario. Instead, Drummond, you can't have the two of them on the court at the same time. But as I've said over and over and over again, Andre Drummond, to me, is the better fit until Embiid comes back. So part of what you need to do, even though my mindset, if I were Daryl Morey going into this trade deadline, my mindset would to me to make trades as if Joel Embiid, you had the understanding, would be healthy come playoff time. But then there's the second level that you have to think about, which is staying afloat. And any player that you acquire, like a Buddy Hield, like Buddy Hield does help this team out with scoring. He's a guy that could catch and shoot. He's a guy that could create his own shot a little bit. Andre Drummond is a guy that helps them right now because he is an upgrade to Paul Reed and Mo Bamba. And that's if that trade happens. But it's something that, I'm sure everybody in Philadelphia is in favor of because I think him leaving was a tough day for a lot of people because, nobody really wanted him to get traded in the first place. Now, Bobby Marks, former executive in the NBA, now an NBA front office insider for ESPN. He's talking about the trade of Daniel House Jr. House was on an expiring $4.3 million contract. Philadelphia now has 2 open roster spots and now $2.7 million below the luxury tax. The Sixers are well below the first apron also. He follows up. Detroit has to clear 2 roster spots before they jump on the trade call with Minnesota and now Philadelphia. So can we start working out something else? What do we got? What do we got?
This in the NFL.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, I think you're going to like this.
What do we got?
The Commanders are expected to hire former Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson to a prominent offensive staff role, per source.
So he did get a demotion.
Jeremy Fowler reporting that one.
So he did get a demotion. That sucks. If I A, I knew he wasn't a good OC. B, if I'm Brian Johnson, I'm going, Nick, come on, bro. You screwed me over, man. He couldn't even get another OC job. He takes a step back. Oh, one of the brighter minds in the NFL, Brian Johnson. So he's now the assistant to Cliff Kingsbury.
That is a massive demotion.
Yeah.
Having to work with Cliff?
Yeah, he takes a step. He took a step back because he wasn't a good offensive coordinator. And Nick Sirianni's not a good offensive mind. I think both are at fault. Yeah, so there's some news in the NFL. I thought you were going to hit me with Chip. I thought you were going to say former Eagles.
No.
HC and not OC. Even though I doubt Chip Kelly would be an assistant in the NFL at this point.
I think he'd surprise you.
Down the road, maybe. Senior advisor or something, but not just yet. All right, so there you go. We even got some Eagles news. Oh man, I was all fired up. God, I'm just seeing so much Korkmaz love on the timeline, which is just I don't understand.
Love?
That
I
one.
see people wishing him a good riddance.
I've seen a lot of. Okay, maybe the algorithm for some reason is sticking a middle finger to me.
Yeah, you've got a secret affection for him.
I absolutely do not.
It sounds like your timeline thinks that you have a little affection for him.
I do not.
It sounds like it.
I can tell you right now, I do not.
Seems like it. Is that a Korkmaz? Are you wearing a Korkmaz jersey in there?
No, we're on YouTube. People can see for a fact that I'm not wearing a Korkmaz
It looks
jersey.
like you're wearing a Korkmaz jersey.
No, I'm wearing a green thermal.
No.
Right? It's thermal season. All right, let's see. So here we go. Keith Pompey. Oh, we're on the fly, man. Trading Daniel House Jr. via the Knicks to the Pistons enabled the Sixers to create a TPE and some financial flexibility, especially if we have an opportunity to add via buyout market, according to a source. It clears the way for the Sixers to go after Kyle Lowry. So Kyle Lowry's going to be a Sixer. Just expect it now. Kyle Lowry will be on the Philadelphia 76ers at some point. So what we're looking at so far, Hield steps into your starting lineup, I guess, right now. It'll be Maxey and Hield, and I mean, here's the thing: the Sixers have been so banged up recently that I don't even like. Last night's starting lineup was just extremely disgusting. Springer, Maxey, Reed, Oubre, and Harris. So you'll still have Maxey and Harris in your starting five. Drummond, or backup center who was acquired, starting center who's acquired to then eventually be backup center to Embiid, that would be your other starter. So that's 3. So now the question is Oubre still in your starting 5 when, like, Batum comes back? Because when Batum comes back, it seems like he's your starting 4. And then is it Kelly Oubre off the bench as your scoring punch, or is it Buddy Hield? I would imagine Hield is in your starting lineup because that helps you out with spacing. Oubre can come off the bench and just score for you. Kyle Lowry's your backup point guard. So everybody that's gotten excited for Jaden Springer's defense the last couple of games, he's probably going to lose some minutes. He might still be involved. I know he did a good job on Steph last night, but it's time to win. Right, so Jaden Springer, he's going to still have his opportunity to grow a little bit, but it's time to win. So I think he takes a step back in this rotation. Whew. A lot of people wondering why I don't like Korkmaz. I just don't think he's good at basketball.
People are wondering. You watched him with your eyes.
Yeah, he's not good at basketball, and then they paid him to stay here. And I had to have arguments with people that Korkmaz, because Korkmaz would he'd have a game where he'd hit 4 threes, and then, you get the phone calls the next day of, see, there's something still there with Korkmaz. My man Anthony Hobson checks in. Mike Missinelli is probably celebrating somewhere because Furk is gone. I got to check in. He was not a Cork guy. He was very anti-Furkan Korkmaz, Mike and I. My man Ant Hobson says, I like the trade, but please no harping on fans saying bleep don't make sense. Please trying to get to a happy place with this team, brother. Because we know Anthony Hobson's not like the happiest of fans all the time.
Nah.
So he's trying to get to a good play. I appreciate that. That's big of him.
Well, I mean, like today, if they did nothing, I don't think I would get myself to a happy place. The idea that they have Buddy Hield now, I watched that offense last night.
Oh, yeah. They couldn't get anything.
As soon as another team goes on like an 8-0, 10-0 run against this team right now with the injuries,
you're screwed,
it's over.
Like Ricky Council had the most points for the Sixers last night.
Right.
In 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad to watch.
It's pretty bad.
The two-man game, and that's it.
They got outscored 43-23 in the third quarter last night, dude. 43-23.
I was there.
Yeah,
I watched it happen with my own eyes. It was terrifying. I mean, that offense, there's just nothing they could get going offensively. And it was one of those things, they're down 3 at halftime. You look up, you're like, wow, the Warriors are shooting 31% from 3.
Yeah.
That's going to change.
That's
you look
good.
over
Exactly.
at the Sixers, they've made 2 threes on like 14 or 15 attempts. You're like, that's not going to change. That just is not going to change. They don't have the capability of shooting right now with this lineup. And they also Maxey can't wander into space because there is no space to be had. They don't respect the shooters. The bigs that are trying to set screens and play a two-man game with Maxey can't do it to the level at which Embiid had done it for Maxey.
Oh, yeah, it's not even close.
And Maxey's running into traffic. He's fading away in mid-range.
They're not respecting what Paul Reed and Mo Bamba could do.
Well, they're not respecting, but they're also not, like, they're just kind of fading. It's not a pick and pop. It's not a pick and roll. It's a pick and, I'm going to kind of lurk backwards. There's no decisive movement to what the bigs are doing right now. And it's very frustrating to watch for Maxey. Frustrating to try and watch any of them get downhill because nobody respects the outside game of this team right now. They are right now one of the most three-point deficient groups. They're adding a career 40-point three-point shooter. That's a good thing. That is a good thing right now. They need it.
Yeah.
In the worst way.
They need it. All right, so we are an hour and 12 minutes into the program. And my God, has it been a sprint. Now, I hope that this sprint turns into a marathon. Sixers have already made 2 trades, one acquiring a player, the other opening up cap space, which will eventually land Kyle Lowry by all reports, right? I'm sure Kyle Lowry has already told the Sixers themselves, yeah, I'm signing. Just got to wait for this team to get rid of me, which I'm looking forward to. And then we move on from there. You want to stay here because there's more news coming. And it might not even be Sixers related. It might be others. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks, I read a tweet that I'll read to you on the other side from Jake Fisher about what the Celtics and Bucks will be doing come the trade deadline. Because this isn't just a big deal for the Sixers. It's a big day across the NBA. I'll read you that tweet and a whole lot more. 610-632-0975. Your reaction to the Sixers landing Buddy Hield, trading Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and a couple of second-round picks. What's your thoughts? How are you feeling? What do you want the Sixers to do next? What do you think the Sixers will do next? It's a slop day here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Can't believe it's 11:21 already. 11 o'clock hour brought to us by Golden Nugget Jewelers. That's where Philly gets engaged. Non-stop news coming in on the NBA. The trade deadline coming your way at 3 o'clock. Sixers already making moves. They've traded for Buddy Hield, moving on from Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks. They traded Daniel House Jr. to the Detroit Pistons and a second-round pick to open up cap space. The Pistons took up Daniel House's his contract so that the Sixers will be active in the buyout market, and all signs pointing to Kyle Lowry becoming a member of the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, there's been more news, but I want to read this. I want to read this tweet first before I give you the latest trade in the NBA that does not involve the Sixers, but the Sixers were apparently a factor in regarding this trade. So Ian Bagley, who covers the NBA, he covers the Knicks, but he's been all over the place. He's been covering the NBA for a while. The Buddy Hield trade to Philadelphia impacts the market for the Knicks to target Alec Burks. Philadelphia and Detroit had talked about a package including Marcus Morris and second-round picks for a deal that would have sent Burks back to Philadelphia because, Burks was once here. Philadelphia is sending, and then he mentions the trade for Buddy Hield. So, in response to that, the New York Knicks just traded for Alec Burks from the Pistons. So the Pistons are finalizing a trade to send Alec Burks to the Knicks. The Knicks are sending Quentin Grimes and 2 future second-round picks to the Pistons. So the Sixers were in on Burks, specifically, it seemed. They don't make the trade for him. They go for Buddy Hield, which I think we're all cool with that.
Yes.
Like
better deal on that one.
Alec Burks, nice player. I remember when he was here, he just wasn't getting minutes. It was the weirdest thing. Like he was fighting for minutes here as the backup. He should have been the sixth man. He wasn't. He's bounced around from team to team to team to team to team. So I don't think the Sixers really missed out on Alec Burks. The Knicks once had Alec Burks before too. So it's either Philadelphia or New York would have been a homecoming for Alec Burks. I don't think they moved the needle getting Alec Burks in New York, and I'm glad the Sixers were able to get Buddy Hield instead of Burks. Now that leads to the next question of what's next for Detroit. And I read you the report that the Pistons need to move on from 2 players to open up roster spots. And Bogdanovich has been a name that's been mentioned a lot as a potential trade piece for the Detroit Pistons. Jake Fisher reported yesterday that the Knicks and Sixers both were engaged with Detroit for both Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovich. So Burks goes to New York. Does that mean? Will I get my dream, Ray?
No.
No? You don't think so? That sucks.
No. I think they're going to be focused on a big man from this point, from now until 3 o'clock.
I don't count the Daniel House Jr. trade.
Well, it was 1 to 3. So we're still 1. There could be 2, maybe 3.
I don't count that one. Jake Fisher, by the way, I mentioned going into the break that I'd give you a report league-wide as well. Jake Fisher does a tremendous job covering the NBA. He does it for Yahoo Sports. He tweeted this out this morning, right before the show started. Barring a surprise, it sounds like Boston is done making moves before today's 3 p.m. trade deadline. If you missed it, they actually made a trade for a center out of Memphis to come to the Celtics. And it's a typical Celtics move. He's 6'7", right? Like he's not.
The dream is dead.
No, where is he going?
The Pistons are trading Bojan Bogdanovich to the Knicks too.
Damn it!
Sources tell ESPN Evan Fournier and Malachi Flynn will go to Detroit.
That's a good move for the Knicks because they get an added scoring punch to help. Look, Jalen Brunson's balling out right now. He's been incredible, Jalen Brunson. At some point, somebody's going to try to lock down Jalen Brunson. And because Randall's been out with injury, now you have another guy that could score for them with Bogdanovich. And when you have a guy like OG Anunoby on that team, you don't have to worry about Bogdanovich not being the most stellar defensive player. That's a good move for the Knicks. Look, the Knicks have had a good season. I think the only reason why nobody's really giving the Knicks all that much love is because it's almost like the Mets. Same city, but, the team that has a lot of hype and they fall short, it seems like every single time. But the Knicks have won 9 of their last 10. They actually jumped the Sixers for the 4th seed after Embiid went down. They're tied with Milwaukee for the 3 seed, actually, and just a game back of the Cavs. The Celtics are kind of running away with it. The Celtics have a 5-game lead over the Cavs, who are in second in the Eastern Conference. The Bucks and Knicks both 6 games back of them. So the Knicks, these are some good moves. More from that Jake Fisher tweet, because he said Boston seems to be done. He also continued by saying league personnel are still waiting to see what defensive upgrades come from Milwaukee after the Bucks may have cast the widest net of any buyer in the NBA these past few weeks. So Milwaukee might still be active with the trade deadline. I wonder who they would be in on. A name that has popped up a lot, and I know we make fun of it because he didn't really fare well here. A guy like PJ Tucker, I wonder, could still go to Milwaukee. He's been there before. That's a team that loves physicality, right? And he doesn't have to do all that much because you have Giannis and company. That's a name that's. I mean, he's dying to get traded because he's not playing with the Clippers. Now I don't know who's actually going to want to go after him. He wants to play for a contender, which if you're not playing for your current contender, do you really have that much pull? Probably not. But the league works in funny ways.
Yeah, there might be a better fit for him though. Like lineup wise, construction with him out there, that team, it doesn't really work. But someone might look at PJ Tucker and say, hey, the way we're constructed might actually play for him.
Yeah, which is why I could see Milwaukee going after him. If Jake Fisher's saying they're looking for defense specifically, PJ Tucker's that. Like he doesn't have to score, right? He could just play defense for them. And then obviously it's can he hit a corner 3, which was the biggest issue with the Sixers last year. They couldn't hit that corner 3.
Hey, he's the only one that showed up to game 7.
That's true. You're right. You're right about that. And Maxey, he tried.
Yeah.
Effort. He showed the effort. We do have another trade. It's a small one. The Wizards are nearing a deal to send Daniel Gafford to the Mavericks for Rashawn Holmes, who you told me before the show was on the trading block.
Yes.
So another former Sixer on the move, Rashawn Holmes.
Tweeted about Philadelphia the other day when he was here with the Mavs.
Yeah, he tweeted like there was like or was there a highlight? Did he post a highlight or something? I don't know.
He might have posted a highlight, but I saw him tweet driving around Philadelphia has me nostalgic.
I saw that.
Where I became a man.
Right.
So you're not driving, you're riding around.
Yes, he's riding around. This Bogdanovich thing bothers me. I'm not going to lie. I basically wanted him since I saw Maxey could handle being second dog to Embiid. Because remember, I wanted Levine, and then Maxey played his ass off, and I said, okay, I'm ready to move on from that dream, and I want guys that can fit with this team, and Bogdanovich is a great fit.
We got bad news for Nova Nation.
What's that?
They've broken up some of the Nova Knicks.
Oh, really?
Archie Diacono is inside this deal and will head to Detroit. So, be gone. I'm sorry.
It's a sad day.
Don't cry too much, Brendan.
He doesn't he have a streak going of like 20 straight games played without a point?
Well, trust me, he's going to score in Detroit. If they play him in Detroit, he's going to get enough.
Honestly, it's probably best. That's probably best for him. He gets to play. You know, Villanova's finest. Yeah, not a city school. All right. Well, so far, I think we were excited about Buddy Hield. I think we're cool with Kyle Lowry. We're all awaiting another big man, but I will tell you right now, I am disappointed. Not only did the Sixers not get Bojan Bogdanović, I'm upset that he went to New York. So not only do the Sixers not get a guy that I've coveted, New York gets a guy that I think makes them better. And that's a team that you still got to keep an eye on. I mean, look, they're ahead of you in the standings right now.
So it's funny you mention that because I'm really hoping as we get to the end of this that we don't end up with the storyline of, wow, the Knicks really outmaneuvered you throughout the season. Because I got to give them credit. They've made this team better. I mean, between Anunoby, now this.
Yeah.
Like there's a potential that they outmaneuver you to end up getting further than you do.
Especially because
by the end of this.
You mentioned OG. OG was a guy that was linked to the Sixers, right, for a while. And it was going to be the deal of, all right, let's make a trade with the understanding that you're going to sign the contract to stay here long term. And he would have been a great fit with the Sixers because he could score a little bit for you. But more importantly, he could provide you with a lot of defense. And with Embiid and his ability to score and his ability to kick to guys that could shoot a three like an OG Anunoby, or you could also sign a guy who maybe lacks defensively, but you have OG to help you out there. That was a move for the Knicks where you went, all right, that stinks for the Sixers, and that also makes sense with what that team is. The Knicks are an aggressive team. I look at the roster on paper and I go, they're not winning anything, but who knows? So NBA Central tweeted out the Knicks roster at full strength. Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Bojan Bogdanovic, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Alec Burks, Precious Achua, and Isaiah Hartenstein. It's not a bad roster. Now it's not like filled with superstars, but it's a pretty good roster. Now Flexi Lexi checks in. Bogdanovic stinks, dude. Bogdanovic is a guy that fits on specific teams. I'm not asking Bogdanovic to be a 40-point-a-game scorer. I'm asking for a guy that can hit an open three at a very high clip with, once again, a team that needs spacing and a team where you're seeing the effects right now of what Joel Embiid, what these guys are missing when Joel Embiid's on the court, the current players on the team. Now imagine getting guys in here that are career 40% three-point shooters. Right? So Buddy Hield is a great move, in my opinion, because he's a career 40% three-point shooter, and he's been able to do it on some bad teams, too. He's now going to be like, I know the Kings have been a fun story. Not so much this year, but the Kings were a fun story last year. Before the Kings got, the recognition that they got last year, he was shooting over 40% with bad Kings teams. Now he's coming here to Philadelphia, and once Joel Embiid comes back, he's going to be able to gain that. He's not going to have as much attention on him, and that's going to open things up for Buddy Hield. So that's why that move is great. Bogdanovic, once again, also a career 40% three-point shooter, and he's doing it, again, for a bad team in Detroit. He's shooting 40% when he's, other than Cade Cunningham, one of the better options for that team. That's pretty good. Now, I know you can make the case that teams aren't really playing all that much defense against the Detroit Pistons, but when there's only like one or two options to really score on that team, and now all of a sudden, that could have been a guy that fits perfectly with the Sixers, that disappoints me. I don't think he stinks. Is he like a one-dimensional player? Yeah, sure. You need those guys.
Yeah, I mean, he's cooked chicken defensively, but
yeah. So was J.J. Redick. We all loved him, right?
Yeah. No, I got you.
You know what I mean?
I know when it came to the battle of the Bogdanoviches, you know which one I wanted.
Yeah, I know.
Still covered. You know what?
You want that? So now you want more trades.
Well, I do. I said I want more trades. What do you think? I'm just satisfied with one thing. I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. I want it all. I want everything here.
That's true.
So go bring me the other Bogdanovich, the better Bogdanovich.
I don't agree that Bogdanovich stinks. I don't think that's the case. All right, the number to climb in is 610-632-0975. Your thoughts on the move so far for the Sixers? I mean, this is going to be a busy day. I get it, but I would love to hear from you. Get your thoughts, get your opinion on what the Sixers have done. Once more, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot today because I need to keep you up to date on what the Sixers have done so far. So far, in the first hour and a half of this show, the Sixers have already made two moves where they traded for Buddy Hield from the Indiana Pacers. They moved on from Marcus Morris, who I am bummed out that he's no longer on this team. I love, the ties with the city, obviously. I actually thought he was a decent ball player when he was on the court. He's unfortunately been banged up with some injuries too. And I thought he was, there's a physicality there that is important come playoff time. Something that we wanted out of P.J. Tucker. We just didn't get. It looked like P.J. Tucker was cooked, whereas I don't think Marcus Morris is, right? So I'm bummed out that he's gone, but Marcus Morris versus Buddy Hield, who fits more with this team with the plans of continuing to make things easier for Joel Embiid? It's Buddy Hield. That's the guy that you go for. So Buddy Hield is a great fit with the Sixers. Unfortunately, it costs you Marcus Morris. You do that because the money works out that way. Morris was in that $16 to $18 million range, as is Buddy Hield. Sixers also moved on from Furkan Korkmaz. Oh, happy day. I will celebrate February 8th for the rest of my life. February 8th will be the day that the Sixers traded a guy that I've been wanting to be traded for a long time, or not re-signed, or released, or whatever. It's a big day, Ray.
Some are saying the most significant February 8th of our lifetimes.
What else has happened February 8th?
This deal. Can't remember anything that was bigger than this.
Oh, well, I thought you were like saying that as a joke, and then there was something that did happen today, which there is something that happened today. We're going to have some fun with it later.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was alluding to.
Okay.
I thought you were picking up on what you were.
So, just so you guys know, today is the 6-year anniversary of the Eagles Super Bowl parade. So we'll have some fun with that as the show continues. When was I going to get to it? In the next segment? Yeah, wow. Next segment, I was going to open this up. So something in regards to the anniversary of the parade. And, of course, the anniversary of one big speech made by Jason Kelce, which, by the way, did you see the blackjack table yesterday?
Oh, I did.
That was awesome. Jason Kelce, was it Taylor Lewin? Is that his name? The former tackle for the Titans, but he's got the podcast, Bussin' with the Boys.
Yep.
Him and Will Compton. Bert Kreischer wearing a shirt. That's big.
Yeah, it was kind of jarring.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing.
That's his thing. You know.
Like, it's not my thing. If you saw me at a blackjack table with my shirt off, you'd have a lot of questions.
I would.
But seeing him with the shirt on, I also have a lot of questions.
So
did he win that shirt? Why is he wearing a shirt?
Maybe. And they hit on a big bet. So that was.
Yeah, but you only ever show your wins.
Yeah, but they probably won enough where they made whatever they lost. That would be my guess. The way they celebrated it. I don't know.
They're on camera, man.
They are on camera. It's a very good point. You're a smart man, Ray.
If Kelce loses a couple times, throwing around big money,
maybe he has to come back for another year.
I think we got another season of Jason Kelce.
He wouldn't be the first player to do that. Anyways, the
Something
Sixers
in the name? Jason?
Hey, you said it, not me.
I don't know. I'm just theorizing over here.
Still doing it. He's going to sign midseason somewhere. Which, by the way, that's sad. So I hope that gets fixed. The Sixers also traded Daniel House Jr. to the Detroit Pistons. They also traded a second-round pick to the Pistons in order to open up cap space because the Pistons took the salary of Daniel House Jr. That cap space will be open for a buyout player, which, by all reports at this point, I mean, Woj himself is saying it, that the Sixers will be going after Kyle Lowry. I don't even think it's a going after. Like, I don't think it's some sort of sprint. I think the Sixers are just getting Kyle Lowry come deadline time. I think you can start buying your Lowry Sixers jerseys now. I think or dust off the Villanova Lowry jersey. I think that's happening at this point. And then the other news outside of the Sixers, the Knicks acquired a player that I really coveted. That was Bojan Bogdanovic. They also got Alec Burks from the Detroit Pistons. They sent out a couple of, role players. The Knicks are a very good basketball team, so something to keep an eye on. Other reports, the Boston Celtics might not be doing anything come deadline time. They already made their moves. They're happy with their team. The Milwaukee Bucks are looking for some defensive help. And the name that has been linked to the Sixers and basically every team in the NBA at this point, DeJounte Murray, that's going back and forth. One of the latest things I saw was that he's no longer on the trade block and momentum is building toward him staying in Atlanta. But I think that could change at any time because his name has been attached to everybody for weeks now. So we will keep you posted. All show long, we're going to have fun with this. This is a day where it's 4 hours of stress. I can't believe we're almost 2 hours in, right? I can't believe it. When we come out of commercial break, it's going to be 11:50, right? When we come out of commercial break, it's going to be 10 to noon. That's what days like this are so much fun. I love being able to do this for a living. We will keep you posted on every single rumor. We'll keep you posted on any slop report, and we'll keep you posted on any breaking news as the show continues. Coming up next at noon, speaking of winter sports, but not on the hardwood, but on the ice, we'll be giving away another pair of tickets to the Flyers-Devils game as part of the 2024 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. So that comes your way at 12 o'clock. It's every day this week at noon, every day this week on the John Kincaid Show at 8 a.m., every day this week on the Best Show Ever at 4 o'clock. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Stadium Series game between the Flyers and Devils at MetLife. This will be, we'll do the caller 9 of the contest line, same rule that we've been doing all week long. So that comes your way at 12 o'clock. And right after that, I'll tell you a way to win another pair of Flyers tickets. If you're not lucky enough to win the pair of Stadium Series tickets, I got a pair of tickets in-house at the Wells Fargo Center for you. I'll tell you how you can win that, and I think you'll get an idea because we just sort of talked about it. 6-year anniversary of the Eagles Super Bowl parade. I have a little fun side topic that we'll play. I want to play along with you guys as the rest of the show continues. The number to climb in, 610-632-0975. What is next for the Philadelphia 76ers? What is it that you want the Sixers to do next on trade deadline day that's coming your way at 3 o'clock? It'll continue into the best show ever right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update. 975thefanatic.com. Andrew Salchunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
11:50, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. It's the midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. It is NBA trade deadline day. The trade deadline coming your way at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, so you'll hear it during the best show ever. But it has been a busy, busy, busy day already. I was just talking to Mike Vito during the commercial break, and he goes, man, usually you guys have to wait till the end of the show and then nothing happens, right? You and I were joking around before the show started that the trade's going to go down at 155. Me and the Eel, we're friends, He's been on the show before. Saw him at the gala. He knows. He was looking after me.
That's not to say he's not going to make another move that happens at 155.
That's true.
Because we built up today as the big man day.
Marcus Mars, buddy of mine, on the show. We're clearly friends. He gave me a fist pound afterward. So, we're boys. He was probably down, if you're going to trade me, make sure it happens during the midday show. That's my guy there.
Really? You don't think Rocco would be the one to drop a line like that?
What if he doesn't get traded? What if he begs Darryl, hey, man, I can't go. I got a fellow dad here in Philly that I just relate to well.
Yeah, I really do think you're this important in the mind of the 76ers. I agree.
Yeah,
I'm worried to walk into that studio.
Look,
I don't know if I'm going to fit
us
inside
revolutionaries have been there since day one. A couple people like to jump on board after the process was over. It's all good.
What was that? Was that a point? Were you pointing at me? Is that something that you were
pointing to the atmosphere?
But point at me?
No, everybody.
Oh,
by the way,
okay.
No, you've been on board. By the way, coming up at noon, your next chance to win a pair of tickets to the Flyers-Devils game, February 17th. So 9 days from now at MetLife Stadium. It's part of the 2024 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. And then if you are unable to be caller number 9, after that I will tell you another way to win a pair of Flyers tickets to a different game with a side topic that we're going to end up doing as this show continues. By the way, there was a trade yesterday that we have yet to react to. Shake Milton on the move. Everybody, oh, man. So many people upset the day he didn't come back to the Sixers. He's now with Detroit, right? So he's yeah. That's where. Let's see.
I hope he gets bought out.
Where career's gonna die, I think, at this point.
Let's bring him in.
Which is a shame.
No.
Daniel House Jr., Shake Milton, part of the starting five. They're recreating last year's Sixers.
Have fun.
Oh, Pistons,
enjoy it.
Pistons are red hot right now. So yeah, we are going to keep you posted on every single move that may happen. Now, you sent me a report from Paul Hudrick, who does a great job covering the Sixers, and it makes me sad, man. It makes me sad that they may have been close. So Paul Hudrick reporting that the Sixers did indeed have interest in Bojan Bogdanovic, as well as Alec Burks, part of the package. But he was told the Pistons coveted the Knicks' Quentin Grimes, the type of player Philly simply didn't have. Now, come on. You really, that's what you're all about. It's Quentin Grimes. That's all you care about.
Who's your Quentin Grimes here?
I don't know. I'll send you. You would do a good job.
No. I'm holding out for the buyout market.
You got length.
Don't send me to Detroit. I want anything to do with the Pistons. The Lions season's already done. What am I supposed to? And the Tigers just got rid of Nick Maton. There's no reason for me to be in Detroit.
There's no reason for you to be in Detroit. It's
buyout.
It's a good point. That sucks.
Free me. I'll go to New Orleans.
Quentin Grimes is the reason why I didn't get Bojan Bogdanovic. Come on, man. It's very disappointing. All right, let's go to the phones. Your thoughts on the trade so far and what you want the Sixers to do next. You can climb in at 610-632-0975. Stadium Series giveaway coming up in about 5 minutes. Let's go to Mitch in Phoenix. What's up, Mitch?
I'm just digesting all the stuff that happens with the 76ers, and it's been going on for so long. When I look at them right now, the only thing I could see that's a plus is having Nick Nurse as the coach. Why he wanted the job, I'll never figure out. But he is a damn good coach. Now, in regards to Buddy Hield was drafted in 2016.
That's correct.
You know who came out of that draft?
Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons, number one,
And later in the draft, we got Kormaz and the French guy that I can't pronounce.
Timothée Luwawu Cabarro. Come on, Mitch.
Is he still in the league?
I think I saw his name pop up last year at some point. I'll double check for you.
Okay, so we drafted 3 stiffs.
He's no longer in the NBA. He's a part of French LNB, which is a Pro A EuroLeague team.
And I'm sure they got better croissants there than they do in North Philly.
Yes, sure. I imagine there's better croissants in France than Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we got 3 stiffs in 2016, and there's been rumors over the years that they wanted Buddy Hield, but they never got Buddy Hield till today. It's not going to make any difference with that club. I can't even watch that team now, and I'm a big Sixer fan for a very long time.
So you don't think having a 40% three-point shooter is going to help them out when Joel Embiid comes back?
Joel Embiid is not coming back.
How do you know that? Did you talk to a doctor that spoke with Joel Embiid?
Dude, he hasn't played a full year for the Sixers and has been hurt either leading up to the playoffs or in the playoffs. That man is cooked.
He's not. I mean, he's not cooked. He's not cooked. Cooked is like James Bradbury not being able to get a stop when the Seattle Seahawks just attacked him for a 90-yard drive in the fourth quarter in the final 2 minutes. Cooked is Shaquille O'Neal when he goes to the Boston Celtics, right? Cooked is Allen Iverson when he comes back here. Joel Embiid is not cooked. Joel Embiid is the league leader in scoring. Now, he won't qualify, but he is not cooked. He's getting better. Cooked might not be the right word. Maybe Mitch was going for injury prone, which, yes, but not cooked. When Joel Embiid comes back, hopefully in April, we hope that he can build up as much as he can and still be a dominant force because he is far from cooked. He is closer to best player in NBA than he is cooked.
Maybe he thinks his season's cooked?
Maybe he thinks his season's cooked, which
I'm going to try and give you a benefit of the doubt there, Mitch.
by all accounts, it could be. In 4 weeks, now 3.5 weeks, he's going to be reevaluated. But the good news is the fact that it hasn't come out yet that his season's done, I'm going to hold on hope. And the fact that the Sixers are active today makes me think, okay, they're going to make moves with the mindset that Joel Embiid will be back come playoff time, which is what I wanted the Sixers to do. I've been saying it all week long. My plan of attack for the Sixers this trade deadline was to make moves with the mindset that Joel Embiid was going to be back come playoff time. And then Woj reported that, Shams reported that, so that's great. I'm glad that that is the direction that this team is taking. Buddy Hield is a good fit for this team when Joel Embiid is back. Am I expecting Buddy Hield to average 30 a game while Joel Embiid is out? No, I do not. I think even after the trade deadline is over, we are probably going to be frustrated watching the Sixers. I don't think it's going to be as bad as last night. Last night was unwatchable. The game before last night was unwatchable against the Dallas Mavericks. Those games were unwatchable. I think it's still going to be frustrating. You hope that they can finish the season from here on out with a 500 record from today till the end of the season, which would keep them obviously above 500 in the overall season and would keep them in that sixth seed, 7th seed. They could drop to the 7th seed. They might have to play in the play-in tournament. But as we have seen, especially in recent years, seedings don't matter as much. The Miami Heat got to the finals last year. The Lakers got to the Western Conference Finals last season. Jimmy Butler did it by himself. Joel Embiid is a better roster the second he steps back on the court. The Lakers did it because they have LeBron and Anthony Davis. Joel Embiid is one of the best players in the NBA, so you could still do it. He just has to be in as best shape as he possibly can be, and that's why you hope this 4-week reevaluation tells you, all right, he might not be back on the court for another 4 weeks, which would bring you to April. But hopefully he can start working his way back onto the court and start, getting back into playing shape. And hopefully he can get a few games in the regular season before the season's over and be ready come playoff time. Joel Embiid is not cooked. That draft was disgusting, though. I'll tell you some of the names from that draft momentarily. But it's 12 o'clock. Let's give away some Flyers tickets.
To the shot, he scores!
97.5 The Fanatic.
Alrighty. I need caller number 9. Caller number 9 to the contest line, 215-263-0975. Caller 9 to the contest line, 215-263-0975. And our 9th caller will win a pair of tickets to see the Flyers battle the Devils on Saturday, February 17th at MetLife Stadium as part of the 2024 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. Visit 975thefanatic.com for complete details and another chance to win. If you are unable to win during this contest right now as we speak, your next chance will be at 4 o'clock with the best show ever. And then because today is Thursday, tomorrow will be the final day for all 3 shows to do it. So 8 a.m. with the John Kincaid Show tomorrow. Once again, noon with myself here on the Midday Show. And then 4 o'clock with the best show ever. So after this one right here, once we get our 9th caller, you will still have 4 chances to win a pair of tickets to the Stadium Series between the Flyers and Devils at MetLife on February 17th. So good luck to all of you trying to win. I will tell you about another way you can wear a pair of Flyers tickets momentarily, but that 2016 NBA draft to which Mitch was just talking about. So Ben Simmons, first overall pick, you know how that's working out. Brandon Ingram, actually a decent ball player. He was the 2nd overall pick, but he went to the Lakers, and of course he's now no longer with the Lakers. He's with the Pelicans. Jaylen Brown, the best player of that draft, was the 3rd overall pick. And then Dragan Bender, Chris Dunn, 5th overall pick. Buddy Hield, who's now the newest member of the Philadelphia 76ers. Jamal Murray, actually a very good basketball player. He was 7th overall. Marquise Chris, ew. Jakob Poeltl, ew. Thon Maker, 10th overall. That was disgusting. Thon Maker. He was awful. Domantas Sabonis was a steal, 11th overall, but he didn't stick. He got drafted by Orlando. He didn't stick there. He's obviously now with the Kings. Torian Prince. There you go. This is Ray's favorite player, Georgios Papagiannis. He was drafted 13th overall by the Suns.
Yeah, that's a nice jersey to have. I wear that one out and about a lot.
That's
See
good.
me out in that Saturday nights. I sing a lot of karaoke in that jersey.
With your Papagiannis?
Yeah.
Do you think sometimes
attracts a crowd?
Do you think sometimes Phoenix gets upset that they have Papagiannis and not Giannis Antetokounmpo? Do you think they get bummed out by that sometimes?
No. Always going for the Papa.
Denzel Valentine. Oh my God, people wanted him here. 14th overall pick. Juancho Hernan Gomez, 15th, and then you start going, ew. I don't know who Gershon Yabusele is. Any recollection of Gershon? He played 2 years with the Celtics. Not the best draft class. Got a couple of nice players later on. Siakam obviously was the big one. DeJounte Murray, 29th overall. You know, it's all right. It's the NBA. This was a funny thing for me. I'm just going to go with that draft class because I'm thinking about our man, the Guru, who, of course, shockingly upset with the trade for Buddy Hield. Anybody who's clutching their pearls with second-round draft picks, just from this year, for example, the second-round draft picks, Devontae Davis. I'm going to guess before I even finish reading the rest of the second-round draft class, probably the best one out of all of them, Zubats with the Clippers. He was drafted by the Lakers, goes to the Clippers. Second pick in the second round. Check Diallo has done nothing. Tyler Ulis, is he still in the league? Nope, he's been out for 5 years. Raid Zagorak. Oh, here you go, Malcolm Brogdon. That's a good pick in the second round. It's a good steal. Patrick McCall, really? Come on. Why are we... George Niang, former Sixer. Second round pick. The second round pick, I know they gave up 3, and people are like, oh, my God, it's so many picks to get Buddy Hield, and you also had to give up players to get Buddy Hield. Really?
Yeah, you can unearth someone in the second round.
You could.
You absolutely can.
Odds are you're not going to. Literally, the odds are you're not going to. I wonder what the percentage is that you get an all-star.
Well, the thing is,
round.
and like the one thing that if you really want to be upset, if you just want to be upset, okay, they gave up what's going to probably be a second-round pick in the mid-30s. Like, there's a chance you can unearth someone there that probably solid. The 2 second-round picks they gave up 5 years from now, you're just looking for something to be upset if you're upset about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you upset about that?
And like, I don't know.
Unless you're thinking that you could have gotten something better with those second-round picks at a later date, but I'm not thinking about 2027.
Yeah, what's the later date?
Right. I'm thinking about this season right now, and Buddy Hield is a good addition to this team. So you have a reaction on social media. I know you put out a tweet from the Midday account, 975 Middays. So what are the people saying? Because I don't want to just react to the Guru and Mitch from Phoenix, two miserable people when it comes to the Sixers team.
All right, we got one from Tom here. Tom says, meh, need more moves, need a center to get us by until Joel returns.
Okay, that's fair.
I think if we get to 3 o'clock without a center, I would probably feel that.
Yeah, we'll be very upset if they don't get a center, a starting quality center.
So we got here Dan checking in. Meaningless move since it's a rental and the season is over. Oof.
All right, so maybe not the most happy return.
Well, here we got Nick saying solid move! Exclamation point. He can score the ball, Mike says, so that's a good one. We got love it.
Well, hold on a second. Can I go back to the 2 tweets? Who said the rental?
That was Dan. Dan said meaningless move since it's a rental and the season is over.
All right, so you may think the season's over because you don't think Joel Embiid's gonna be good enough, and that's fine, right? If you don't think the Sixers win an NBA championship this year, that's fine. But you traded a guy, Korkmaz. First of all, I don't care if Korkmaz had 5 years left. I'm pretty sure this was the final year of his deal. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think this was finally the end.
Marcus Morris, final year of his deal. So you traded 2 eventual free agents for another quote-unquote rental, and there could still be the potential of re-signing him. I mean, he's here, so there's a chance that you could get him on a, workable 2-3 year deal. You're not giving him a max contract. It's not like Buddy Hield is a part of your plan. Like, you have, to that tweet, I'll say it once again. I said it yesterday. I talked about it with Bob earlier in the show because Bob brought this up earlier in the week, and I appreciated him doing it. The Sixers have 3 guys under contract next year. Joel Embiid, Jaden Springer, and Paul Reed. So what if Buddy Hield's a rental? So what if anybody you get is a rental? You have to do a complete overhaul of this roster next year. Maxi's going to get a max, right? He'll be here. We'll see what ends up happening with Tobias Harris. But, it doesn't really matter. It's not like you traded Tobias for Buddy Hield, right? Whereas a guy like Tobias Harris might be able to get you more talent on this team. Which, by the way, I still don't believe they're trading Tobias Harris. I still think people are thinking that could still be a possibility. I just don't see it happening. They kind of need him right now. Unless you're trading Tobias Harris for a guy that still has 2-3 years left under his deal and can really help this team out. I don't think they're trading Tobias Harris. But it looks like, all right, so far the tenor of the response is not necessarily thrilled, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some people that have found some joy in it.
Yeah,
like
they're just waiting. They're waiting for what's next.
Well, we got the solid move. Love it. He could score the ball. We got Anthony checking in with, I'm sad for Morris, happy for Furk, and hope he gets playing time. We needed Hield 5 years ago. It's all for nothing unless we get Drummond. He is needed big time. So, sad for Morris. I don't really care in terms of, I guess I'm happy for us, for Furk.
Yes,
I'm happy
no
for all
longer
parties. Hield 5 years ago. Yeah, I mean, Hield's been the longest tenured former future Sixer.
Right.
And then, I mean, a lot of people seems like it's, again, the wait for the center. We got a couple people with the Slade checking a total waste of assets if Embiid is not ready for a playoff run. So, again.
Well, yeah, but I think they're going into, and this is the way that I wanted them to go into the trade deadline with the idea that Joel Embiid could potentially be back come playoff time. I think that was the right plan of attack.
Right.
And that's what the Sixers are telling you. Okay. So here's the deal. Obviously, this show is going to continue to go in the way that it is. Reacting to the trades, reacting to any slop, breaking any news, right? Whatever happens, we will discuss it. But to kind of, take the deep breath now, it's been a very It's been 2 hours and 10 minutes of
No
just
deep breath.
nonstop. I'm going to open up a side topic. I want to have some fun with this. So I mentioned we have another pair of Flyers tickets to give away because, not everybody can be calling on to the contest line. So we have another pair of Flyers tickets. It's a pair of tickets to see the Flyers take on the Coyotes on Monday at the Wells Fargo Center. You can get tickets at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. So today is the 6-year anniversary of the Eagles Super Bowl parade. Obviously, 4 days ago, it was the 6-year anniversary of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. This week, we've talked a lot about legendary status, a lot of it with Joel Embiid. So I want to kind of keep that same mindset of legendary moments, all right? So in that Super Bowl parade, you had the most legendary speech, I think, of all time in Philadelphia. Ever. I beat 1776. I think Jason Kelsey's speech was the biggest speech in the city of Philadelphia ever.
610.
610. You tell me otherwise. I want to come up with other legendary moments from Philadelphia athletes off the field. Could be good. Could be not so good. For example, a legendary moment off the field that involved a Philadelphia athlete, to me, is Terrell Owens doing, crunches in the driveway, working out in the driveway. That is a legendary Philadelphia athlete moment off the field of play. So in honor of Jason Kelsey's legendary speech, I think that would be the number one answer that could never get topped. I'll write these down, and the winner will win the pair of Flyers tickets for Monday night. The most legendary moment that involved a Philadelphia athlete while they were on a team, on one of the Philadelphia teams, off the field. 610-632-0975. That with all the Sixers coverage as we await to see what's next for the Sixers and your reaction to the move so far. The move to land Buddy Hield and the move to eventually get Kyle Lowry off the buyout market. 610-632-0975. I'm Andrew South Jr. It's the Midday Show right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic.com.
It's 12:20, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas on deadline day. Trade deadline coming your way at 3 o'clock with the best show ever. Just saw Tyrone hard at work in the back. 12 o'clock hour brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. Okay. So, just open up the side topic, which I'll remind you what that is in a second. But I want to let you know everything that has happened so far in the first 2 hours and 21 minutes of the show. It's crazy. We got like all this news at the very beginning, and now it's just kind of quieted down. So is this the calm? Is this the calm before the storm? Right, exactly. Because the Sixers still need to be active. The Sixers got. Can you get the Wojnarowski clip from yesterday that we were playing? I'm sure it's in the folder there. Oh, you have it. Okay. So let me take you back to yesterday before we get to what has happened so far today. Take a listen to the reporting from Woj yesterday.
The Sixers are very much weighing the possibility that Joel Embiid does return this season, that they can still play with him as their centerpiece. And because of that, they're going to continue to be buyers at this trade deadline. And I think they're trying to improve themselves on multiple fronts. Perhaps is there a backup center who can help carry them here in the short term? There's certainly a number of them available. There are a lot of teams in the market for backup centers, potentially players like Andre Drummond, who had been in Philadelphia before, Kelly Olynyk. Those are some of the guys in that marketplace, but doing bigger things than that. What Philly wants to do, they're in 5th place right now in the East. They're 3 games up on Indiana. What Philly would like to be able to do is stay at least in 6th place, not drop out into the play-in, and see if they can maintain that until Joel Embiid gets back or once he gets back. And I think for them, that's certainly a short-term goal. But they're out. They're aggressive. They know they have a tight window with Joel Embiid. They know there's risk in doing a deal or deals here, and then he doesn't come back this season or he's not himself. But I think they're willing to live with that risk because they have certainly, the reigning MVP, a player who was on his way to another MVP this season. And if they can have him healthy in the playoffs or healthy enough, they want to have a group around him that gives them a chance.
Right.
And I think that's the right thing to do because here's the deal. You're not winning the championship without Joel Embiid, right? Like your best way of winning is with Joel Embiid. So you got to go into the mindset, all right, if we can get Joel Embiid back, we still have an opportunity. So let's try to get some pieces that work with him, that work around him, which is why, like the DeMar DeRozan stuff that even Woj reported this morning, I don't think that works. I don't think DeMar DeRozan and Joel Embiid work together. Now, I wonder if that's off the table now that they made the move for Buddy Hield, but it's something to keep an eye on, I guess, still as we near the trade deadline, which is under 3 hours away. So I like that the Sixers are doing that. He mentioned the big men. So he said Drummond and Kelly Olynyk. Now, Kelly Olynyk is now off the table. He was traded to Toronto, so Kelly Olynyk no longer available for the Sixers to make a move for, but Andre Drummond is still out there. I'm willing to put money on the table right now that the Sixers get Andre Drummond by 3 o'clock.
Ooh.
I'm not hearing anything. I'm not talking to anybody, but like they need a starting center.
You just talked about throwing money down. That's the only reason I went, ooh.
They need a starting center. They need a backup to Embiid, but a starting center.
Yeah.
And that's not Paul Reed. And that's not Mo Bamba. Okay? They need a starting center. And Andre Drummond fits that mold, especially from now until when Embiid comes back. He doesn't do the things that Joel Embiid does, but he can help you out in a lot of ways. So I like that idea of Andre Drummond. Now, that was Woj yesterday. Shams this morning. Do you have that clip still? Shams this morning. This was a much quicker one. He said this about the Sixers.
They're going to be aggressive working the phones. Is there a playmaking guard? Is there a scoring guard? Is there a pop that they can get offensively somewhere out there? They're going to be able to at least be out there and be active and make real offers to bring in a potential scorer.
So Woj yesterday says that they're going to be aggressive. Shams this morning says that they're going to be aggressive. And they did just that. And now what you heard Shams say was scorer and a guard. So they make the trade for Buddy Hield this morning. They trade away Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, 3 second-round picks, 1 for this year, 2 for 2029, so not for another 5 years. So they make the trade for Buddy Hield. So the guard, the scoring guard, that is now check mark, all right? Then they make the trade of Daniel House Jr. and another 2024 second-round pick to Detroit for nobody in return. But the immediate reports were, okay, they freed up money. Now they're going to get Kyle Lowry once he is bought out. And that's been talked about for a few weeks now, honestly. So it looks like you can pencil in Kyle Lowry, and the Sixers, what have we been saying since the beginning of the season? Needed a backup point guard. I like Patrick Beverley a lot. I like what he brings to a basketball team. I'm not saying that I need Patrick Beverley to be my 20-minute backup point guard, right? Like Kyle Lowry comes first there. I just think Patrick Beverley is a nice piece to have on your team for reasons other than just actually dribbling the basketball and taking shots. So that's a good step forward. So Kyle Lowry, expect to be getting him off the buyout market. So scoring guard, check. Ball handler, check. Now they need a big man. And my guess would be an Andre Drummond, unless somebody else pops up. But the Sixers are still going to be active. I don't think they're done yet. I mean, it's just crazy that everything happened at the beginning of the show. But there still is another 2.5 hours until the NBA trade deadline. Other trades around the NBA, one that really did bum me out, Bojan Bogdanovic of the Detroit Pistons, alongside Alec Burks, they go to the Knicks. The Knicks gave up guys like Quentin Grimes and Evan Fournier and some picks. And I think that was a great move for New York. I think New York's going to be a pretty dangerous team come playoff time. They're in the 4th seed right now in the Eastern Conference, but the 4th seed tied with Milwaukee, who are 3rd, and a game back of the Cavaliers for the 2nd seed. So look out for the New York Knicks to go on a bit of a run. They've won 9 out of their last 10 games. And the side topic that we just opened up for some Flyers tickets for Monday's game, legendary moments off the field with Philadelphia athletes. So they had to have been currently members of a Philadelphia sporting team. So Jason Kelce, we're doing this because 6 years ago, Jason Kelce did the speech, at the museum steps when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I gave you an example. T.O., as a member of the Eagles, doing the workout in the driveway. Now, I thought that was self-explanatory, but Daniel Bender did ask for clarification. He says, I think you have to be more specific with legendary moment because how do you rank something like the death of Jerome Brown? I said I wanted this to be a little lighter, Now, I understand because I said it doesn't have to necessarily be a good thing. Like, there could be other legendary moments where, it wasn't like, ha, 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 this is awesome, right? But I didn't think that would even cross somebody's mind. But, so no, not death. Like, something where, they said something, right, or did something, just not that far. All right, one open line, 610-632-0975. So let's go to the phones because not everybody is in love with the move they made so far. So let's start off with the Guru. Hello, Guru.
What's up, brother?
What's up? you exhaust me sometimes.
I have a good time, man. Your show's great. Fun keeping up with all day long on the X.
Yes,
but,
exactly.
You want me to lead with the side topic or straight with the Embiid?
Give me the Embiid or Morey, because I know you want to talk about Morey.
So as this is evolving, I'm starting to realize I think my Sixers' upsettedness, for lack of a better word on the spot, is that Daryl Morey reminds me, right? So in the sports betting world, I'll use that as an analogy. If you take 4 or 5 days where you're really not paying attention to the NBA or any league for that matter, right? You really have no idea what's going on with injuries, what young guys are performing, what guys aren't performing, right? Daryl Morey reminds me of a guy who 3 years ago, 2 years prior, he gets guys in his head, and then he gets so focused on, the paperwork and, focusing on his own team that he's so unaware of what's actually going on around the league and how players are, increasing in value and declining at the end of their careers. So, now we're adding players that, 2-3 years ago would have been great. And it's almost like he's mad that he couldn't figure out a way to get them then, and they're stuck in his head. So now he's figuring it out there. So now he's getting rid of, the Daniel Houses, the Marcus Morris, all those players that he started the season with that we knew the roster was going to be inadequate, but he wanted them years ago. So now he's basically...
Well, Marcus Morris came over with the Harden trade, and it was always... in that mindset that somebody from that trade was going to get moved, whether it was Morris, Batum, which obviously that's not happening now because he's a starter for you and healthy, and Rocco.
Right. I I agree with that. But the other side is we decided to sign Paul Reed when we had a chance to keep Andre.
Yeah, look, I didn't like Paul Reed. I didn't either. Now, Andre Drummond, you traded him to the Nets because he was a free agent. He was going to leave anyway.
I mean, I meant to say re-sign. You know what I mean? We definitely could have re-signed Drummond to come back to Philly. I think there was rumors about that, and we chose Paul Reed instead. Is that correct? I mean, I don't really know. I'm kind of speaking off of memory.
Well, no, not. I mean, the trade happened 2 years ago. I don't know what his contract status was going into the season.
I thought for some reason there was a debate.
He was already under contract last year. This is his second year. It was a player option. He's stuck with Chicago. I appreciate the call, Guru. I know that you're not a Morey guy, but like Andre Drummond exercised his player option with the Chicago Bulls. And I hear what you're saying. Like, Buddy Hield would have been great 3 years ago. Okay, well, you didn't get him 3 years ago. It's not like he's 45 years old. He's 31. And you're not asking him to be a 25-a-game scorer. You're asking him to shoot 40% from three when Joel Embiid is back. I love the Guru. I do sometimes think he thinks too much in the betting world. He literally tried making a gambling example. It's not just about overs and unders, right? Like, Buddy Hield helps out with spacing with this team. I agree with you. I did not want Paul Reed back, but it wasn't Paul Reed versus Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond was already under contract with the Bulls. All right. Sorry, I didn't get to a side talk. It was just the call went long. Let's go to Karate Mark. What's up, KM?
Did you look at that? The sun's out. The Sixers are making moves.
Yeah, how about that? It's nice.
Got a nice day.
Dude, we got what, mid-50s tomorrow, 60 on Saturday? It's beautiful.
How about it? And I am all about this Buddy Hield trade. All about it. The Sixers need a backup handler. They need a backup shooter. We got now a very nice tandem with who we starting, Maxey and Hield, Maxey and Melton, or we start in Maxey and pick one. We can now kind of have options. We haven't had options. We got backups. Take a rest. Don't worry. We're not going to take a beating when you take a rest. So box one, check. Well done, Sixers. Box two, I agree with you in one aspect. I disagree with you in another. I don't need to trade or pick up any centers. I would love another Oubre. I would love another Batum. We missed it with Bogdanovich. I was with you a million.
Yeah, I wanted him badly. But here's the deal. So you're cool with riding with Paul Reed and Mo Bamba until Embiid's back?
I mean, to me,
because I'm not.
Everybody else, we're not winning without Joe. So
no, I know, but like I need them to not be totally exposed until Embiid comes back, because the goal is, we played that Woj clip, to not fall into the play-in tournament. And right now you're just 3 games up with the Heat. And I think they get exposed without Joel Embiid. You clearly get exposed, but I need somebody that's, more capable of eating up better minutes and not being a detriment to the team at times.
I'm going to say this. If Joe does not come back, then obviously we're not winning the thing. If Joe does come back, I'm not upset with Mo Bamba, with Paul Reed coming off the bench.
Yeah, that's fine off the bench, but we're talking about the starting center right now.
Give me what the league exists of. It exists of shooters. It exists of guards and threes. So I don't need a center that's going to fill in or any type of shoes filled with Joe while he's not in. Give me the shooters. Give me the wingmen. So when he does come back, we now have our complete squad. When he isn't in, we're just contending with what the league is, a bunch of shooters.
It's just a bunch of shooters. Okay, I hear you on that one. Thanks for the call, Mark. I appreciate it. I can't do it. I'm going to stand by it. Like, I get what you're saying, because that's the way the league is going. But I do believe that Paul Reed in starting, I don't mind him for 10 to 12 minutes. He's energy punch. I don't mind him. It's just he can't start for my basketball team. And I now have to ask him to start. If you don't make a move for an Andre Drummond, Paul Reed is your starting center for 2 months.
That's not great.
Can't have that.
The one thing I'll push back on is more the shooting thing. This has not been a good shooting team without Embiid. Like relying on the shooters of this team that they just haven't been. And, them.
Well, he wanted another Oubre type player, another guy that could come in and fill it.
Yeah, I get that. But I don't think this group, I don't know what still out there is going to make you that much better in the marksmanship category of being able to knock down shots from long range.
Right.
Like what's still out there. The big situation, it'll be interesting. Like if you were to get a Drummond, how exactly the fit works offensively. But I could already assure you that offensively, what you've gotten so far, Reed, Bamba, and what they have drawn from defenses has not been anything to write home about. So, I mean, right now you're just trying to find something else. And I think you get a different body type of a center in there that gives you a little more flexibility maybe in the postseason. Like Paul Reed, I'm not writing him out of the rotation for the rest of for when Embiid gets back if you go out and acquire a backup center. Like I still think there's minutes and there'll be lineups that make sense to have him out there depending on the matchup, depending on what you're trying to do. But the Reed Bamba 1-2 is not one that I have watched with particularly encouraging results early on. And I think adding to that piece of the team probably makes more sense to me.
Right, absolutely. Now, you have 2 tweets for me before we get back to the phones?
I do have 2 tweets for you. So we got one from Jason. Jason checking in with, and I think this is Jason trying to explain why there are people against the move right now. Ask the question of, do fans view NBA second-round draft as valuable as NFL second-round draft?
Right. I saw that tweet, too.
You shouldn't, but would we put it past people?
I think most people realize what the second-round pick is for. It's for trades. Right? And so the fact that they used 3 of them for Buddy Hield. Now, second-round picks aren't landing you Zach LaVine. You know what I mean? Like, a second-round pick isn't landing you Giannis. A second-round pick is landing you a guy like Buddy Hield.
A package of them.
A package of them. Now, the question is, could you have gotten somebody better than Buddy Hield with 3 second-round picks? I don't know if that's the case. So, yeah, maybe people do value the second-round pick more than what they are actually for, but they're important to have for trades. I think people do realize that. It's just whether or not they liked Hield or not.
Fair enough. And also, we got a great offer for you.
Okay.
Come courtesy of Dawood.
Okay.
Tell Junis I'm going to buy him a floor seat to the Sixers-Pacers game next year so he can have an up-close view of Furkan's return tribute. So you're welcome for that. Dawood going to take care of you.
You know what? I'll take the floor seats because that's the hardest one to see the screen. I'd have to, bend the neck back. Normally when you sit in the bleeds like us, like you're just looking straight at the screen.
It's a great spin zone on your part. So I got to give you props on that.
So I'll take the floor seats without really being able to have a good view of the screen. I think that's nice. All right, let's go to David in San Antonio. What's up, Dave?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
All right. Hey, I can't go to the Flyers game because I live in Texas, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chase Utley quote at the World Series.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's a great one.
I mean,
that's a great one, especially when he wasn't the vocal guy. Like, I think Jason Kelce, nobody knew who Jason Kelce was personality-wise, and then he showed it with that speech. Chase Utley doesn't have a personality. He still doesn't have a personality other than a couple of, moments on Always Sunny. So, that was he got out of his shell for that one. That's a great answer.
Yeah, that was just awesome. Hey, I like the Buddy Hield move, but I don't like the moving, even though I know it's just to move money around. I don't like bringing in Kyle Lowry because I got a bug up my butt. Back when he was good a couple years ago, he adamantly didn't want to come here and help us win. So he could kick rocks just because he need a paycheck. Like, he could beat it as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he could get a paycheck anywhere. It doesn't have to be with the Sixers. Somebody's going to pick him up out of the buyout. I hear what you're saying.
Somebody else then.
and look, that's why I know Pat Egan isn't the biggest fan. Thanks for the call, David. Pat Egan's not the biggest fan of Marcus Morris. Because Marcus Morris had, in his eyes, opportunities to come here in the past and never did. Right? So, Kyle Lowry, he'll be here. And he's a backup to Tyrese Maxey, which is great. Now, is Keith Pompey trolling here?
A little bit.
Did you just see this?
Yeah, I got notifications on.
Is Keith Pompey trolling here?
Come on, Keith.
Keith Pompey just tweeted this out less than a minute ago. Bulls Andre Drummond. Fined $15,000 for making inappropriate gesture on the playing court versus the T-Wolves.
Come on, Keith.
I see Bulls Andre Drummond tweeted out by Keith Pompey. I'm ready to. Oh, are the Sixers getting him? No. Come on, man.
Not yet.
Killing me. All right, we have a couple open lines. You climb in at 610-632-0975. Your reactions to the trade so far made by the Sixers, landing Buddy Hield, trading away Daniel House Jr. to the Pistons to open up cap space to get Kyle Lowry, essentially. And then what's next for the Sixers, what you want them to do. And also our side topic, legendary moments of a Philadelphia athlete off the field of play, because today is the 6-year anniversary of Jason Kelsey's speech. If today was a day where there wasn't news buzzing, I would play you parts of the speech. But obviously, second I hit play, I guarantee you something happens in the NBA, and then I got to cut off Jason Kelsey. I don't want to do that. But the legendary moment with a Philadelphia athlete off the field, the best answer will win a pair of Flyers tickets for Monday's game against the Coyotes. That was a great answer from David about the Chase Utley World Bleeping Champions at the World Series Day Parade. So answers like that are fantastic. Would love to hear from you. 610-632-0975. I'm Andrew Salchunas. It's the Midday Show right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers make a pair of deals on deadline day. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Lowe's. Now's the time to save big on major appliances at Lowe's. Shop LG and more today. Lowe's knows home improvement. The 76ers first this morning traded for Buddy Hield from the Indiana Pacers. In exchange, the Sixers are sending Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks. 2 of those second-round picks all the way out in 2029. One of them will be for this upcoming 2024 draft. And again, in return, Buddy Hield will be a 76er, finally. 76ers also made a deal with the Pistons. They're trading Daniel House and the Knicks' 2024 second-round pick. And, well, in return, there's some flexibility. It looks like the Sixers are going to go into the buyout market trying to target Kyle Lowry, assuming he is bought out by the Charlotte Hornets. Elsewhere for the 76ers, they lose last night and get crushed again in the second half. They got outscored by 20 points in the third quarter as the Golden State Warriors came to town and won 127-104, despite the fact Steph Curry scored just 9 points. The 76ers 4-12 without Joel Embiid this season. The Flyers back in action tonight, hosting the Winnipeg Jets at 7 o'clock. Flyers, of course, coming off the win over the Florida Panthers that brought them back from the All-Star break. Catch a live call tonight's game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn. Breaking sports news all day, every day is here. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
John Kincaid, Bob Cooney, Pat Egan. Listen for the big storylines in Philly sports that matter to you. The John Kincaid Show, weekday morning 6 to 10, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Home field advantage in the NFL playoffs is earned by having a superior regular season record, and it's an
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's 12:50 on the Midday Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. We are 2 hours and now 10 minutes from the NBA trade deadline. You'll be able to hear that happen on the best show ever, right up till the final moments, whatever trades may happen. Of course, there's always the trades that are announced like 10, 20, 30 minutes after the actual deadline as well. So you're not going to want to go away even after 3 o'clock hits. You want to listen all day on the best show ever, as you always should, honestly. So make sure you're listening to them coming up at 2 o'clock as they lead you up to the deadline and react to afterward. Another trade just now in the NBA that I'm sure is going to really move the needle for people. The Raptors trading Dennis Schroeder to the Nets for Spencer Dinwiddie. That was a real...
Schroeder?
Yeah. Yes.
Is that the correct pronunciation? Schroeder? I always said Dennis Schroeder.
Sorry,
Schroeder?
you're probably right. Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder to the Nets for Spencer Dinwiddie. Did I say that one wrong, punk?
I just had never heard it that way. There's some times where I've been saying something wrong my entire life. I'm a Philadelphian. I just assume that I say everything wrong all the time.
So, look at that.
You said Schroeder. I naturally had to inquire.
Dinwiddie having a rough season this year with the Brooklyn Nets. He was, that was a nice little squad they had a few years ago, and the Sixers beat him in the playoffs. Right? Jared Allen was on that squad.
Yeah, it's their preferred way of building a team.
Right, a bunch of what did he say? A bunch of hardworking players.
I'd rather go 41-41 with a bunch of role players than have to deal with the headache of the 3 stars.
Yeah, it's a great way to admit
games.
that you're never going to win. That's just ridiculous to me, but whatever. We have one open line. You can climb in at 610-632-0975 as we get you closer and closer to the NBA trade deadline, waiting to see what's next for the Sixers. The Sixers already acquiring Buddy Hield earlier today. They traded Daniel House Jr. to the Pistons in order to open up cap space to eventually land Kyle Lowry, by all reports, via the buyout market. They still need a big man, which Woj was talking about yesterday that they are going to go after. He mentioned Andre Drummond and Kelly Olynyk. Olynyk is now heading to Toronto, so it looks like he's off the table. So Andre Drummond's still available. By the way, the trade to get Buddy Hield, the Sixers gave up Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks. Let's go back to the phones. You can climb in at 610-632-0975. Would love to hear what you think about the trade so far, what you want the Sixers to still do. And we have a side topic right now. The side topic, the legendary moment that happened off the field with a Philadelphia athlete. And let's say one that is public. Because my man Ant M. Schmall reached out to me saying, I have a story about a certain player that you would need to reach out and I will tell you about. Which, he says it's NSFW.
Oh.
Yeah. And, if one person saw it, I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't think we need it.
I'm saying, the public, like T.O. in the driveway, right? Chase Utley.
We can avoid,
Yeah.
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 All right, let's go. Let's go back. Let's go back to the phones. Oh, by the way, Thad Young on the move, too. He's still in the league.
Thad Young, man. Deadline day.
God, just ages like wine, man.
You know he is sweating.
Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that Thaddeus Young is also going to the Nets.
I mean,
that guy is just still balling, man.
Dinwiddie wanted to trade, and now all these families are uprooting because of it.
Yeah. Way to go,
sorry.
Spence.
He didn't necessarily want a trade. I'm reading the Jake Fisher report here. He didn't request it, but both sides are excited about the potential to move on.
Yes.
So he just want out of there. They want him out of there, and now all these people got to uproot because, what would we do? Spencer Dinwiddie for Dennis Schroeder?
Yeah.
Throw Thad Young in there.
Let's throw Thad Young in there, yeah.
What is this, okay? I want a real slop today. I want to get a little crazy. What is this? This is the, the meme that they're having a mid-off? This is that.
No, there's going to be more. I mean, look, the Lakers haven't made their move yet.
Oh, yeah, there's still going to be.
You know LeBron, GM LeBron's work.
This is still going to be there, but this is like a halftime show, and I'm disappointed in this halftime
Oh, you just want it to happen during our show. Admit it.
A little bit. Well, no, actually, preferably, I'd like for it to happen in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, because you don't want it at 1:50, and then we have a minute to react to it.
Well, no, because I got to record that update.
Oh, yeah, the final update.
Yeah, so I don't know, you are a seasoned pro at this one. Am I just going to record it and just hope at that point? You just kind of pray on that one?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, great.
Or you can go with the old school update approach where we had to do it in 60 seconds.
Man, that's too much math.
Yeah.
That's too much math.
Oh, you have a countdown in front of you.
Yeah, I do have a countdown in front of me. I also got to,
That's when we used to do the old Sports Center updates here on the station.
Gotcha.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not a grizzled vet.
All right. I got you. All right, let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Corey and Chad's Ford. What's up, Corey?
Hey, gentlemen. How's it going today?
It's good, man. How you doing?
Hey, listen, if Brooklyn's making all these moves, right, can't we get Mikal Bridges out of their system? I mean, that'd be sweet.
Well, he's a guy. They're moving Spencer Dinwiddie, right? Like,
Right.
they want to build around Mikal Bridges.
It's wishful thinking. I mean, listen, I'm just happy that this is like some of the best news we've had in the last 2 months, right? I mean, we've been in like gloomy cloud life with the Embiid injury, the Eagles. I mean, maybe the Maxey 51 was like the highlight of the entire month of January going into February.
I mean,
So,
Embiid gives you 70, and then he gets hurt a couple weeks later, and all's forgotten. And not just the Sixers, like Philadelphia sports in general, right? Yeah, the Eagles collapse, the Phillies collapse. Yeah, it's nice to have fun talking sports today.
Yeah, I'm just going to bask in it, for just a few moments. Yeah,
Right.
even if it's a complete monumental disaster down the road, let's just enjoy it for a little while.
Until a trade happens that you're going to be pissed off about, and then you're back down to earth.
Right. Well, hey, listen, I'm not a huge prognosticator, but, I did, for what it's worth, my son and I messing around on the NBA 2K series back in 2019. I can't remember the assets we gave up for Buddy Hield, but we did win the title that year.
That's huge.
My backcourt was like McConnell and Hield, and we brought the championship back to Philly. So, I can't wait to tell him when he gets out of school today that we finally got him, even though it's 5 years later. But,
and look, I think that can happen. You bring in TJ, Corey, and it's title town.
No, but I mean seriously, the Maxey Hield backcourt. I mean, it's got to be really interesting.
It's nice,
to see
yeah.
how they use those guys. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Just takes our minds off of some of the bad stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what do you got for this side topic today?
Oh man, I'm pumped that no one said this yet. Right, staying with the NBA. Right, we're not talking about the games, but we're talking about practice.
Yep.
Right?
That's Corey. That's a 1 seed. I'll put you on hold. You'll be in the running for the Flyers tickets for Monday night if you win. Hopefully, you bring your son to that game. That'd be cool. So if you could just tell Josh, get his email, phone number, just make sure if he does win. They're talking about practice. A lot of that on social media. Obviously, I'm saving the phone lines are open for you to give an answer, but a lot of social media love about we talking about practice. I mean, that's iconic, right? Iconic. And I remember Ted Lasso. He did his own spin on it. So that's a big one. But we'll continue it. Let's go to my man PG deep in these streets. What's up, Black Gritty?
You stole mine. I was going to tell you I'm out here working on my fitness. No comment. I'm just out here working on my fitness. You know what I mean? T.O. is out there like Adonis in the middle of the sun.
All right, what's more iconic, T.O. or practice?
Oh, it's definitely practice. I'm losing the practice, but T.O. is my answer. You stole this.
I'm sorry. I'm a thief.
I'm
a thief like Korkmaz, stealing $5 million.
Right. Well, I mean, before we get on to basketball, I got a question. I'm trying to come by for the Super Bowl. What's Coop sipping on? Trying to bring a 6-pack of apple juice or
Yeah, it sounds good. I appreciate because the Fink checked in. He's going to come over with Ray. He's a big applesauce pouch guy right now.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to take care of the kid. I ain't worried about you. You know what I mean?
I'll be good. Don't worry about me.
So me and Coop can sip on that sauce. You know what I'm saying? We can do it big. But, I mean, I didn't want him to make any moves, to be honest with you. I just wanted to just ride this out and see what happened. But if you're going to make moves, I like these ancillary side moves. Like the second-round picks aren't a big deal. Getting Buddy Hield, everybody's going to tell you we wanted Buddy Hield and Halliburton 2 years ago. We were trying to get rid of Ben Simmons, and they were star hunting still. And Morey wanted his son instead of other players. So, I mean, I'm happy with the Buddy Hield thing because, again, he's a shooter, shoot. I am with the other caller that said about the center, though, like, when you watch Joel Embiid on the team, it makes you really believe in centers. It makes you really think, like, I need a center. But the league doesn't really use centers.
But I need a center who I can trust. I don't trust Paul Reed. I never have, and I still don't. I think he's still growing. I think he's a very raw talent, but I don't I need in the next 2 months a center who I can trust that won't hurt you. Paul Reed can do some flashy things. It's great. And then he can also do nothing like last night again.
So two things. One, I'll tell you, he put up 30 on one of the greatest centers in the world.
Yes, he did.
Two have back-to-back MVPs. Yeah, I mean, greatness is in him. Yeah, I mean, you just got to get him going in the right direction. And secondly, let me tell you something right now. We're down so bad. The little things like this just bring you some kind of joy to have. It's almost sad and comical, but like just getting someone and making some kind of moves, at least they're doing something. Because right now we're on a
right. Because there's been some years where they've done nothing. And thanks for the call, brother. Always great talking to you. There's been years where they've done nothing, and we've come out disappointed. So the fact that they got a move done right away, I appreciate that. Now there's a player available. So I imagine he gets picked up relatively quickly. He's not having the best year right now as a shooter. The Pistons just released Joe Harris, a guy who I wanted when the Sixers traded for James Harden. Now, he was injured at the time of that trade. You know, he's a career 43.5% three-point shooter. But the thing that's interesting is it was like 47.5% when he was on the super team in Brooklyn. This year, on that bad Detroit Pistons team in only 16 games, he's a 33% three-point shooter. So he seems to be a guy that can hit a shot as well, as long as he's on a team that's going to provide him with open looks. Is he the same Joe Harris as a couple of years ago? No, he's not. But he's a guy that I imagine with Embiid and giving it open looks, he's not J.J. Redick, but you get what I'm saying. He's a guy that can hit a three for you. He's going to get picked up pretty quickly, I would imagine, even though he's having a rough year.
Yeah, the question becomes, what's his value without Embiid?
Right, exactly.
When you're trying to fill this roster out.
Well, again, this is the idea of making moves for playoff time.
Well, making moves so that this team is in a sustainable place when Embiid comes back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And like,
I'm interested, but I don't think he comes here. But I think he gets picked up pretty quickly. He's going to get picked up by a team that needs a three-point shooter.
Yeah, when the dust settles here and we know what roster spots are still available to be had here and who.
Right, that's the other thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we gotta wait for that one. But I mean, I wouldn't be against looking into it, but it's not the first one that jumps out. Like when 3:00 hits, it's not going to be all right. It's Joe Harris watch for me.
No, like I'd rather have Kelly Oubre coming off the bench with the ball in his hands than Joe Harris. Like, duh. But just a name to keep an eye on.
Did I say Joe or Josh? I might have had a slip there with the owner. So I meant Joe Harris.
It is Joe. It is Joe Harris.
Listen, Josh Harris can sit next to the bench. Not on the bench.
I don't know how good of a shooter Josh Harris.
He's a basketball guy, according to reports.
And a football guy, too.
No, that was the problem. Ben Johnson saying he's a basketball guy.
That's right.
Well, the report saying that Ben Johnson said he's a basketball. Great leaks from both sides there, trying to clean up the
absolutely
the mess of him not being hired by the Commanders.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to Sean in Germantown. Sean, you're on the Fanatic.
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
What's up, Sean?
All right. Yeah, unfortunately, we're still going down I call it the bit syndrome with an S on it and the butts in the seat syndrome. This trade does nothing for nothing. And the only thing that I like that we got rid of Korkmaz, that was good. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of hearing that name.
Dude, I'm telling you, today will be the day. Today is not the day they acquired Buddy Hield from me. Today's the day they got rid of Furkan Korkmaz.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm selling next year. Sean, next year I want you in the studio with me. We'll pop a bottle at 1 year anniversary.
Yes, sir. And also, Embiid, he's not coming back to do nothing powerful for us. We've been dealing with the same situation the whole time he's been here. He's in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah, but you don't know. But what if he does? I mean, I had the caller Mitch earlier that said the same thing. We don't know that. You might be a doctor. I know I'm not.
No, we know that because we know that already because we already waited a whole year when we first picked him up. And when he first got here, he's been in and out the whole time. So what makes us think now?
Yeah, but usually he gets hurt going into the playoffs. This is early enough in the regular season where you hope coming out and going into the playoffs he'll be okay.
We could be optimistic. Okay, I'll go with you with that. But myself, I'm not going.
And that's fine. Look. Am I like sitting here going, can't wait for Joe to come back and win an NBA Finals? Like, no, I'm not. But I am going into this trade deadline with the mindset of, I hope he's back, and if he is back, I need to build a team that's ready to play with him. And that's why, like, I'm not making a move for a star player. I'm making moves for guys that would fit around Joe.
Yeah, that's true. And then also to this Drummond thing, bring him back for what? You know what I'm saying? For what? You know
To be
what I'm saying?
be a starting center until Embiid's back.
Yeah, and then Paul Reed, like I want to give up on him so bad, but I'm giving him till next year, and then if he don't do nothing next year, he got to go because the Shake Miltons, the Paul Reeds, the Cork Mozzie.
Yeah, they stick around.
They too long.
They stick around, man. They're leeches.
The side note, I'm going with the Birds. I'm going to be in Brazil for that. That'd be something fun to do.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, man. Enjoy yourself flying out to Brazil. Thanks for the call, Sean. That's cool. Now we got another trade. Former Sixer.
Now, breaking sports news from 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Oh, we sound like a radio station. The Charlotte Hornets are finalizing a trade to send forward P.J. Washington. His name's been mentioned a million times over the last couple of weeks. He goes to Dallas. In exchange, the Hornets get Grant Williams, who, talk about, he's with Boston, right? Has his face stepped on by Joel Embiid. Remember that last year in the playoffs? Embiid literally steps on his face. He goes from a potential championship contender with the Celtics to the Dallas Mavericks. And is now going to Charlotte. And I think it was him who a week ago said Luka Doncic is the easiest player to ever play with. And they go, yeah, that's cool, man. See ya.
I want to give credit to Evan Turner, but I'm not positive. I think it was Evan Turner. Williams had tweeted out something like, caption this. And he quoted it with, when they're talking about trading for a 3, but you are a 3.
Oh. Evan Turner in the know? Evan Turner has sources?
I don't know, but yeah. Grant Williams. Whew.
So not just Grant Williams,
12 months.
but also Seth Curry, former Sixer great. Not Steph Curry, but Seth Curry.
A lot of Seth Curry jerseys I saw last night. A lot being considerably more than I expected.
Seth Curry.
Seth.
Interesting.
Sixers, number 31, Curry. Walking around last night. I think people felt like it was the night to break him out.
Because of the Steph Curry factor.
But I did not anticipate. I anticipated seeing a lot of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I didn't think too much about the Seth Curry jersey. But I saw quite a few wandering the concourse last night.
So Charlotte sending P.J. Washington to the Mavericks in exchange for Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first-round draft pick. So there's the latest move in the NBA now that we're in the 1 o'clock hour. So I wonder if teams start getting itchy because we're under 2 hours.
What once cost 2 second-round picks now costs a first.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So let's see what starts happening. Maybe more moves start happening as the show goes on. We'll keep you abreast on all of it. Let's go to Vinny in Westchester. What's up, Vinny?
Hey.
Hello?
How are you? Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I got you. What's up, man?
Good. Hey, yeah, I love this trade. It's your side topic. I kind of can relate to what I'm talking about here. Like, it's why not try to make a move to when he comes back to get to the finals this year, get past the second round? Like, it makes no sense why anybody wouldn't be happy with trying to get a shooter in here. We've been begging for a shooter like Buddy Hield since 2016 when Buddy Hield was drafted, and even before that. So
right, and my biggest thing is because people, like, somebody was upset that it was Marcus Morris. Like, yeah, I love Marcus Morris. Philadelphia, it's great. He's a free agent after this year. Yeah. They only have Embiid, Springer, and Paul Reed are the only guys that are under contract already for next season. So, okay, so you're trading.
They're in a rare situation where they get to try to win this year when Embiid comes back.
Right.
But also have a ton of money freeing up.
Yeah, it's not detrimental to the future. That was one of my biggest beefs with the Guru. He's talking about, oh my God, the assets for the future. Well, yeah, second round picks, I get you can use them to move, but come on.
Come on, who are we going to get out of that? Brock Purdy? My goodness. My side topic is because it's another star in the city that the crotchety old men that were born between 1950 and 1970 in this city hated was when Mike Schmidt retired. His retirement announcement post-game in the middle of the season.
Yeah, in the middle of the season. Yeah, I heard the morning show talk about this not too long ago. Vinny, we'll put you on hold for your chance to win the Flyers tickets. I forget what the context was. I think it was just like when greats retire. I think that's what they were talking about. Because obviously Jason Kelce might be retiring soon, and Fletcher Cox might be retiring soon, and so they were talking about that. But yeah, Mike Schmidt in the middle of the season because he just realized he didn't have it. anymore. So yeah, that's a big one. Let's go to Brian in Malvern. Brian, you're on the Fanatic.
Andrew!
Yo!
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I love the show.
You're the man.
So, I got on the Sixers. Love the trade.
Good. That's
And
great. What do you want them to
side
do next?
topic, well, we still need a big man.
Okay.
But don't hang up until on the side topic.
Yeah, what do you got, Brian?
Wow, multiple people took my answers, Andrew.
Okay.
But the McNabb air guitar.
Oh, that's a great one. Nobody said that on the air yet. That's a great one.
I'd love to win the tickets, but I mean, as for the Sixers,
yes.
Like, I'm not Daryl Morey. I'm not you. But we got to do something.
Yeah. Brian, what you up to?
At work.
All right. Well, you enjoy yourself, all right?
Thank you, sir.
You're the man, Brian. We'll put you in the running for the Flyers tickets. He's at work, Ray.
At work.
He's at work.
At work.
He's at work.
At work.
All right.
FanFest work for me, too.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's deadline day, all right?
New Year's Day. New Year's Day when I worked at Applebee's, because I had to work the New Year's Day shift, which was just horrible.
It's horrible.
In the city. So, you know what goes on New Year's Day? The mummers.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So, New Year's Day, I remember specifically, I was at my buddy Joe's house, in my neighborhood growing up. And what's cool was so I've told you the Super Bowl party story.
Yes.
That was the Super Bowl party house, and that was the New Year's Eve house every single year. And so now at this point, we're in our 20s. So it was cool. We kind of all congregated back.
Oh, wow.
Because we're not 21 yet, so we can't go to the bars. It's winter break. And we were just like, you know what? Why don't we go back to where we were there every single year? And, of course, more people came than normal. And it was a long night. So I lived in the neighborhood. I walked back to my house at 6 o'clock in the morning. I still remember. I had to be in at work at 10 at Applebee's. And so when I got to the B's, the bartender who I was friendly with, he looked at me, he goes, "You look like crap," I'll say.
Good save.
I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, follow me. And he brings me to the back because obviously I'm underage and, oh, by the way, working. And he lined up 3 shots of Jameson for me. He said, "When do you start?" I said, "I got a couple minutes." He goes, "Here you go."
Wow.
That was a foxhole move.
That was.
He hooked me up. Little hair of the dog.
Yeah, little hair of the dog. Never heard anyone.
Now, the worst part was there was an upstairs to that Applebee's that was never filled enough to actually use.
I remember.
Except that day. And guess who had the upstairs shift?
Ooh.
Rough one.
That was a great Applebee's.
It is a great one.
It was a great one. I enjoyed it. Closed in what, 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It called people wondering what Brian does for a living on social media right
Hey,
now.
listen, man.
Hey, lunch break, man.
5
Maybe he's on
o'clock
lunch
somewhere.
break. All right, so we got one segment left. Best show ever coming your way at 2 o'clock. We have an hour and 47 minutes until the NBA trade deadline. The Sixers have to do more. I'm not done yet. We are not done yet. They better not be done yet. So what is it that they do next? It's got to be a big man. Has to be. I'm sorry. I know that the league's not about big men anymore. Well, you know what? I also need a competent big man. With all due respect to what we got right now. I need a better starting center until Joe comes back. Would love to hear from your thoughts. 610-632-0975. And the iconic moment, the legendary moment of a Philadelphia athlete off the field of play. Best answer will get a pair of Flyers tickets to Monday's game against the Coyote, all right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
thefanatic.com.
It is 1:23 on this beautiful Thursday afternoon on NBA trade deadline day, 1 o'clock hour, brought to us by Ferguson HVAC Lyon Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors for equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's counter locations in Bensalem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester today. There was another trade made in the NBA. The Brooklyn Nets are sending a name that a lot of people have mentioned with the Sixers in the past. Royce O'Neal is going to the Phoenix Suns. A nice move for the Suns. Guy who can play some defense, get a shot every once in a while. So he goes to Phoenix for salaries and 3 second-round picks. So it's going to be a couple of salary dump players, it looks like. So Phoenix is going to still obviously try to make a run at things because they got a good basketball team with some stars. Obviously just the 5th seed in the Western Conference right now, 5 games back. 3-way tie in the Western Conference. Thunder, T-Wolves, and Nuggets all 35-16 out west. The Clip half a game behind them, 34-16. Then there's the Suns 5 games back. So tight race in the Western Conference, not as much in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics 5 games up of the Cavs. Cavs in second place in the Eastern Conference. The Bucks 1 game behind the Cavs. Knicks 1 game behind the Cavs. So they're 6 back of Boston. And then there's the Sixers. The Sixers are 8.5 games out of first place. But that's not the number to look at. The number is not to look at the games back of Boston. To me, the numbers to look at is games ahead of teams like the Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic, and the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls very far back. They're 6.5 games back of the Sixers. But the Pacers, Heat, and Magic are 3 teams to keep an eye on. So the play-in tournament, obviously I think people know about it, but because the Sixers haven't been a part of it, I wonder if a lot of people realize, oh my God, wait a minute. The Sixers might be a play-in team for the first time because, since the play-in tournament started, the Sixers were a top 4 seed every single year. So the Miami Heat are the 7th seed. The teams that would be in the play-in tournament are the Heat, Magic, Bulls, and Hawks, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Heat are just 3 games back of the Sixers. The Magic are 3.5 games back of the Sixers. The Magic, I'm not going to think will go on some miraculous run. They got some nice players on that team, but I don't think they're going to go on some run to catch the Sixers. But the Heat are obviously a team that you need to keep an eye on at all times because, look, they were the 8th seed last year and got to the NBA Finals led by Jimmy Butler. So that's a team. I know Woj was saying yesterday they're going to do whatever they can to get out of the play-in tournament, to not be a part of the play-in tournament. It's not out of the question. They're only 3 up of Miami. Moves like today, we have to see, are they going to be enough to keep them afloat? Because they got to start winning basketball games. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games, the Sixers. And they're not going to all of a sudden go on some 10-game winning streak, post-trade deadline, but they need to be able to start winning some basketball games before they get into that possibility of being in the play-in tournament. Now, I think if they get to the play-in tournament, Joel Embiid's going to be back, hopefully at that point. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't think the Sixers are going to be out of the playoffs. That would be an absolute tragedy. But I don't want them to have to, God forbid, they lose the first game, then they have to try to win the second game to get in. I don't need that right now. All right. So as we get closer to the trade deadline, about 90 minutes away, an hour and 33 minutes away. Would love to hear your reaction so far to the trade deadline. I'll remind everybody of what's been going on so far and what you want the Sixers to do next. Would love to hear from you on the phones at 610-632-0975. Also, your chance to win a pair of Flyers tickets for Monday's game against the Coyotes. Give me an iconic, legendary moment of a Philadelphia athlete off the field of play. Jason Kelce's speech after winning the Super Bowl took place today 6 years ago. Probably right around now. If I think about it, I was running the board that day, Ray. I was running the board, and you ran out of dumps.
Yeah.
Tough one. Tough.
How exactly did you respond? Take notes for the next time this happens.
I You know what? I think they said keep going because you couldn't get out of.
Right.
Like I couldn't get out of it. It was the Super Bowl parade. It was the speeches. Like I could not get out of it. So I think we just kind of dealt with it in a weighted FCC stuff. I don't remember. I don't know whatever happened.
And right there, so it worked out for you.
Yeah. So
Kelsey's obviously a legend. EJ Smith just posted a picture from Radio Row
of him and Deshaun. I saw that. That was cool. That was cool.
Also, can't wait for the D-Jax and LaShawn McCoy podcast. I'll be consuming that like crazy.
The two of them are on with Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, the two of them.
Oh, they're starting a podcast?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that'll be interesting. That's when you got Deshaun when it was on with LaShawn. He told the McNabb story about how McNabb was complaining that Deshaun Jackson made it to the Pro Bowl.
That's right.
Like, what the hell? You're a terrible teammate that you're upset that one of your teammates got to the Pro Bowl. No, it was because he was the first ever Pro Bowl starter for two different positions because he was wide receiver Pro Bowl and return man Pro Bowl. And McNabb was walking around complaining that he got that kind of recognition. Like, could you imagine that? You win some esteemed producer award, right? Oh, God. You believe this? They're giving Ray awards? Like, that's messed up.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you for that reaction. I'd be walking around here like, wow, they're giving Ray awards?
No, I can't. That's a real story. Unbelievable. All right, let's go back to the phones, and I'll remind you all of what's going on so far in the NBA. Let's go to Carl in Warminster. What's up, Carl?
Hey, how you guys doing?
How you doing?
Enjoying this little segment.
Hey, Carl.
First of all, I'm thrilled. I hope we get Kyle Lowry. I've wanted this kid since high school. We need a degree of toughness that he will teach Maxey how to be a professional point guard in the National Basketball Association. Kyle Lowry is a fantastic asset. I'm thrilled with that. And as far as
I just don't know how much you should expect out of him on the actual court.
I don't expect much on the court,
okay.
But on the bench, he's going to educate the kid, and I think that's always a good thing. Salary dump and all of this stuff aside, we need that strength of character that he'll bring. And I'm surprised you were forgotten. For who? For what?
That's a great one.
It's the greatest Philly quote of all time.
That's a great one. I'll put you on hold, Carl. Thanks for the answer. Hey, Carl. Nice to see you. I said that to you off the air earlier this week.
You did.
Sure, yeah.
That's the second time you dropped that this week.
Well, I mean, every time you hear the name, Billy Madison. Well, it's great. Okay. Let's go to Elliot in Boston. Elliot, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, what's up? I got to agree with Carl with the Kyle Lowry thing. I don't think it will be a substantial impact, but I think the more important thing is getting Andre Drummond with that 4.3 trade exception.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm waiting for. I mean, I said it earlier. I put money down right now that Andre Drummond's going to get traded to the Sixers. I'll be disappointed if they don't get him.
Yeah, I heard you say it, and I was like, I mean, it's really, I think the way that everything's setting up to be. We're not going to see a Brogdon. We're not going to see a DeMar. It's the big move has already been made with Hield. It's really now just, can you get that center? Paul Reed isn't cutting it, and let's go get Lowry with the remaining.
It's not
money.
that I don't think Paul Reed is an asset to have. It's just I can't trust him to be my starter. Like I need him off the bench for 12 to 15 minutes max.
Yeah, why should you trust him?
I don't know. The Sixers game the extension this offseason, right? Like
if we don't make it. If we don't make it out of that first round, we don't have to worry about it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I did not agree with that one of those extensions. Thanks for the call, Elliot. I mean, I'm a Daryl Morey fan. You know, we did Daryl Morey Day on the station back in the summer. You know, does he reach that status that he is thought about across the NBA? I think he is a great executive. I don't think he's the greatest of all time. The James Harden move back when he was with Houston was an incredible move. And look at what it did for their careers. You talked about, look at what it did for Daniel House Jr., right? Like that trade was pretty big. And he has made good moves. Like the thing with Daryl Morey, he has made moves that I have not expected that have worked out. It was magic to get rid of Al Horford, that contract, and get Danny Green out of it too, who actually was a nice role player for you for at least 2 years. So you get out of the Horford contract and actually got a player in return out of that. I know people don't like James Harden, and I know that people talk about the connection between Morey and Harden. He traded a guy who was refusing to play for one of the greatest players all time of that top 75 list in James Harden, right? Daryl Morey, moving on from Josh Richardson, who's a guy that just doesn't make sense in the NBA. He's a guard that doesn't shoot well, right? Like, that doesn't make sense in the NBA anymore. He was able to trade him for one of the more lethal three-point shooters, at least percentage-wise, in the history of the NBA in Seth Curry. Like, he has made some moves where you went, wow, how did he get out of what he was dealing with and get the return that he got out of it? And so here we are now. We got Buddy Hield, and Buddy Hield is going to be. So here's what's going on today. The Sixers acquired Buddy Hield in the first hour of the show. The first hour of the show today, first 2 hours of the show today, I blinked and we were at 12 o'clock. They make the trade early on for Buddy Hield. They moved on from Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks. And all they got back was Buddy Hield. They didn't, it's not like they got another player in return. No T.J. McConnell. Sorry to say. So it's Buddy Hield for Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks. The 1 second-round pick is for this year's draft. The other 2 are for 2029. The next move the Sixers made was they traded Daniel House Jr. and another 2024 second-round pick to the Pistons for nothing in return. Basically, the Pistons just took Daniel House Jr.'s contract. If you're just tuning in now, you've heard the last couple of callers bring up Kyle Lowry. That's because all signs are pointing to the Sixers getting Kyle Lowry via the buyout market, and that's why they moved on from Daniel House Jr. Are we not done? What do we got now?
There's no report to this. This is just a tweet from the Pat Bev pod. Breaking, Pat Bev to the Milwaukee Bucks. There's nothing else to it, but it's some slop for sure. It's some slop for sure. There's no other report I've seen.
I would imagine the Patrick Beverley podcast would know if he's traded to Milwaukee.
But they would also love the good fun of us going with this. And, I don't know.
Think that's good fun. I think they're...
I mean, again, I would think that they have it on good authority what's happening. But I don't have anything beyond that aside from the Pat Bev pod tweeting out that Pat Bev to the Milwaukee Bucks.
There you go. You asked me what the Guru's ever happy about. He's not a Pat Bev fan. So maybe he's celebrating.
No, he'll find a way. He'll find a way to say this is bad.
You know what? I disagree. I wish they kept him. So Patrick Beverley. Now, here's the deal. As much as it bums me out, Kyle Lowry, you're bringing him in. So I imagine Jaden Springer still gets minutes. Kyle Lowry's going to be the backup point guard to Tyrese Maxey. Now you have the logjam of backup point guards. If you need to get a backup big, which I still expect them to do, unless they're getting rid of Mo Bamba, which I don't know who's taking Mo Bamba. It's like the would you rather carry 5 wide receivers or 5 running backs? It's would you rather carry 4 point guards or 4 centers at this point? Now, I just wonder what the return is. I mean, I don't think the Sixers are going to get it really anything of note from Milwaukee.
Well, is this going to be part of a bigger deal that lands 76ers what they need or what they want?
Maybe.
Because the Bucks have been looking for perimeter defense.
Right, so earlier today, and Woj now confirming that the Sixers are trading Patrick Beverley. It's bull. I love you, Woj. Sixers are trading Patrick Beverley to the Bucks. Sources tell ESPN. Oh, your source is the Patrick Beverley podcast, man. Show some love to the podcast fellows. All right? The Bucks. I read you that tweet earlier from Jake Fisher. Jake Fisher does a tremendous job covering the NBA. He put out a tweet earlier today about how the Celtics didn't look to be making any more moves come the deadline, and he said that the Bucks are a team that casted the widest net of any buyer in the NBA because they were looking for defensive upgrades. So
now, breaking sports news from 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
What do we got?
All right, Sham's giving you the return here.
Oh, so Sham's got one here.
Well, He was after the Pat Bev pod and after Woj.
That's true.
At least he got the return for this one. Campaign and a second-round pick.
Okay, so you got a guy that has had history in the NBA to be able to score a little bit. He's not, he's no starter. He's not going to light the world on fire from three. His formidable years was with Phoenix. He's bounced around a little bit. So let's see. Let me look up Campaign. So Campaign, 29. He's averaging 6 a game with Milwaukee this year. Obviously, he's not going to be a big part of the offense in Milwaukee with Dame and Giannis and Chris Middleton. So he's not going to be a big part of the offense there. He's been coming off the bench for them, playing about 15 minutes a game, averaging those 6 points, dishing out just over 2 assists a game. His biggest years were with Phoenix. So in 3 different years with the Suns, he averaged 10 points a game. Let's say 2 years because the first one he played 8 games. So that one doesn't count. All right, so you're moving on from a veteran defensive presence player who can tear you a new one when you need it, right? For probably a more gifted offensive player in Cameron Payne. And what was it, the second-round pick?
Yeah, 2027.
Oh, how dare they get rid of the second-round picks?
Now you got one more.
You got one back. All right. I think I'm more bummed out that Patrick Beverley's not in Philadelphia anymore than I'm excited for Campaign.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, self-assess here whether it's my personal bias on Pat Bev that is, making me upset on this one. I mean, I get that you need someone more offensively gifted, especially, you've seen these Maxey and Beverly lineups. Maxey attacking and trying to kick out to Bev, is not exactly
no, it has not been.
It's not what you're looking for. I mean, you're getting a little bit more the shooting percentage of the efficiency this year from Payne. I guess you're getting a little bit more there than what you got out of Pat Bev. And I guess if you think you're getting Kyle Lowry, then maybe that role is taken up by bringing in Lowry. It's just disappointing.
I remember he had a nice playoff run, right? Because the Suns were the team that lost. Remember the Suns in 4 guy?
Yeah,
that got in the fight with the fan. That was the year. That was one of the years that was the year Milwaukee won, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
All right. So yeah,
2021.
All right, and I'm pretty sure he was a valuable piece with the Suns. Let me see here. The year they got to the more slop.
We got more slop here. Jake Fisher. Sixers are still in conversations with Chicago on Andre Drummond, sources said, while Bulls remain engaged elsewhere, being told Philadelphia is not pursuing DeMar DeRozan, which makes sense. There's no
Thank God.
But there's also no salary left to
No, there
to match
isn't.
on that
But
one.
it also it doesn't make sense with this team. DeMar DeRozan and Joel Embiid don't work together. DeMar DeRozan, until Joel Embiid back, is helpful. It's beneficial for sure. But the second he comes back, now what? So, all right, so Campaign, this was the playoff, the year they go to the NBA Finals. This is 2021. So the 2021 season. Against the Lakers, he had a great series. Game 1, he only had 5 points. But then in Game 2, 19-7, 7 dimes. 15-6, had 4 steals. 13-4, 16 points in Game 5. And then just 7 points in the closeout game. Then they swept Denver. And 7 points, 9 points, 4 points. So not a major factor. But then in the conference finals against the Clippers, Game 1, 11-9. Game 2, 29-9. And he's taking 24 shots. Got Devin Booker on that team. And then the scoring total dropped after that. And then they get to the finals. So you have a guy that has playoff experience, finals experience, has had success in the playoffs before, does more offensively for you than Patrick Beverley. But in terms of the love affair of a player, Patrick Beverley, that stinks, man.
Yeah. Again, this one feels like the personal emotions getting in the way.
Yeah. So, I'm going through it. PJ Tucker was that's the guy I've been wanting for 10 years. He's cooked when he gets here. And then Patrick Beverley, that's the guy I wanted for 10 years. He was okay. I liked him as a leader. And no longer with the Sixers. So That's sad. I see a tweet from Slippin' Benny. Yeah, the sad face. Because back on January 31st, he said Pat Bev is one of my top 5 Sixers ever. So not a little over a week later, they get rid of the cult hero.
Yeah,
we were talking about the cult heroes.
I know.
You're right.
I know.
We just did a whole topic on that.
It will be. Like, at this point, he actually has cemented himself as a cult hero.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be, he doesn't have a chance to ruin it in the postseason. Because, that could take away from his status. Now he ends up being a guy of what if, and we enjoyed having him for half a season. So, in a way, this works out for his legacy. But
that's true.
Disappointing to see him go. And I'm going to turn off the mic now because I got to update.
You got to update your update. Well, hold on. Before you update your update, I need your thoughts as a vibesman. So Connor Thomas has tweeted out. He's upset. This is a really bad move for locker room chemistry. The only way I'll be remotely okay if there's something else big coming, if not, major mistake. Your thoughts as one of the leaders of the Vibe Tribe.
Yeah, no, it's definitely difficult.
That's the new name for it.
The Vibe Tribe. I like it. Yeah, anytime you get rid of a guy who's popping a beer after the game to celebrate, that's a disappointing loss in that one. And you got, the energy he brings to the floor. Losing Morris and Pat Bev in the same day for the vibes, not great for for what the return will bring to the team. This is unfortunately just nature of the sport here. I think a Drummond trade probably restores it for you.
Okay. Now it's funny, Jake Fisher. So the Bucks tweet that I mentioned earlier. So he sent out a follow-up tweet about 15 minutes ago. He said, I've heard several more options for the Bucks' ongoing search for perimeter defense this afternoon. Two more under Milwaukee's consideration per league sources, Chris Dunn and Najee Marshall. And then the trade happens of Patrick Beverley, and he quote tweets it saying, of the dozens of options, I never once heard Patrick Beverley. Crazy, crazy league. This league. Hashtag this league. Let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Justin and Ambler. Justin, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling, Justin.
I might be in the minority here, but I'm getting so frustrated with hearing all this Daryl Morey, this and that. Has he built a winning team, a championship winning team wherever he's been?
No, and that's why we did a Daryl Morey day, and I like Daryl Morey. I think he's a bright person. I've had the opportunity to talk to him, on and off the air. I think he's bright. I think he has good ideas. But I do think he's slightly overrated. And overrated not because he shouldn't have a job. Overrated because people make him out to be like the second coming of the greatest GM ever. But I do think he's a smart mind. I went through some of the trades that he made that got the Sixers out of some pretty big holes. So I think but to your point, no, he's never built a championship team.
And I know the whole process thing wasn't his doing, but where would you say 1 to 10, how much better off we are now, even if Embiid wasn't hurt, than we were prior to the process?
A million times better.
Really? But how? Like, we've got one of the best players in the NBA.
Right. All right. So if you're looking at winning championships, you're right. Both pre-process, post-process, it's both at 0. But pre-process, Justin, they were an 8th seed, right? Like there was no chance of winning a title. Post-process, they've been a perennial contender, a championship contender, and a top 4 seed multiple years. It's just injury has happened. Doc Rivers has happened. Ben Simmons has happened. James Harden has happened, right? But you can't say that the pre-process team would, you're in the same boat.
Oh, yeah, I don't mean to say we're in the same boat, but I don't feel like we're a contender. We're a second-round exit, whatever. But I just don't know that Morey's the guy that's going to bring that final piece in to bring us to a title, even though we're so much closer now than we were pre-process. Does that make any sense?
I get what you're saying, Justin. I do, and I appreciate the call. And a lot of people were saying that James Harden was going to be that. And I also know there were a lot of people that were anti, getting James Harden in here. The question is, what's next for the Sixers? Next offseason is going to be huge, right? The trades that they're making is for this season, and you hope that you can catch fire when Joel Embiid comes back, if Joel Embiid is healthy enough. The moves that you're making right now aren't necessarily for next year or the next 3 to 5 years, right? Maybe you can get Buddy Hield in here, and you can, he's happy enough to be here. You're happy enough with what you get out of Buddy Hield, and then Buddy Hield sticks around and, is a part of the team maybe he signs a 2 to 4 year contract, right? Contract extension. Maybe you don't want to go too crazy because he's 31. But the Daryl Morey, I hear what you're saying, but Daryl Morey, I think, has the right mindset of his job is to always have the ability to win a championship in mind, right? You only have so many bullets in the chamber, especially with a guy like Joel Embiid. And no, has he gotten the splashy player? Well, no, but getting James Harden for a guy that was refusing to play, I thought was the right move at the time. Now, another person that doesn't want to give Morey credit is Spider in South Philly. What's up, Spider? How have you been, man?
I've been great, brother. I'm not loving the Sixers. I haven't been loving the Sixers all year, to be honest. I don't know if y'all remember. I told y'all back in the preseason or before all season, I'm just an observer of the Sixers. I'm not a fan as long as Morey is our GM because he's a moron. Daryl Moron's his name.
Daryl
Moron. The dude before me, he ain't never done nothing to make our team better. Our team.
Yeah, but aren't you happier to be with like the Daryl Morey and the Sixers than what you're getting in like Charlotte or like think of some of the teams that aren't relevant.
It's the same thing. We ain't winning nothing. When you ain't winning nothing, it really don't matter, bro. Like, on some real. Our team is going to look like the Houston Rockets when he left that team. I promise you.
That would be scary, yes.
That's how we're going to look. When he's done with our team, we will look like the Houston Rockets after he got done with them. And that's a sad. And I told Cuz this. When he was around, I mean.
Yeah, but you know what? Then a lot of people are going to get what they want because a lot of people want them to do a process.
Hield, bro.
People are going to do it. Well, Buddy Hield right now in this current juncture is a good move.
No, he's not. Have you watched him play?
No, but what do you like? What else would you have done that right now? The trade deadline's an hour and 10 minutes away.
Why we couldn't get Alec Burks?
Alec Burks isn't going to do much more.
Right now, listen, I don't know if you've been watching. He's playing way better than Buddy Hield now.
Alec Burks played for a terrible Pistons team.
And what is Buddy Hield doing? Don't look at that stat. You see that stat line that says he shoot 42%.
I'm sorry, Spider. I got to break, Spider. I'm sorry, man. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Best show ever next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
3 trades for the 76ers. I'm Ray Dunn. This update